2039. Gotham City has no heroes. Its people, no hope. Its youth, no future.
Evening, boys and girls. Who's up for some laughs?
Terry McGinnis was part of the problem.
Right there.
You can't control your temper, and you'd better if you expect to get anywhere in life.
Yeah, I'll be a big success, just like you.
Until a moment of violence brought him to the door of a man named Bruce Wayne.
Let's put a smile on his face.
Leave him alone. Once known as the Batman.
Man, you're something. You okay?
Now, the Dark Knight will rise again to drive the shadow of evil from the streets of Gotham. Let's go! Supervillains, beware! There's a new Batman in town. Batman Beyond. Weeknights at 6:30.
You're pretty strong for some clown who thinks he's Batman.
I am Batman. Justice returns to Gotham.
Welcome to my world.
Only Toonami. The land of Eternia is a paradise with a problem. An act of betrayal has created the ultimate evil. My face! And his name is Skeletor.
Eternia will be mine! Battle position!
The only thing that can stop his evil horde is a legend no one believes in.
A hero shall worship.
And a prince with an attitude.
All this battle training is just fun and games.
Now, a sword will choose its master. A boy will become a man.
I have the power!
And a hero will be born. Toonami is proud to present He-Man like you've never seen him before in an all-new original movie. Masters of the Universe. Next Friday at 4. Only Toonami.
4 turtles, mutated beyond recognition. For 15 years, the brothers hid in the sewers, training in the ancient ways of the ninja.
You cannot simply walk amongst the humans.
But we can certainly fly. Woohoo!
Now the teenagers finally surface, but the welcoming committee isn't quite what they expected.
Prepare to battle, costume fools.
We're not wearing costumes.
Don't miss the world premiere of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Saturday, February 8th, 10:30 a.m. Only in the Fox Box.
The original Justice League has become a memory.
I am resigning from the Justice League.
What's gonna happen to the League now?
We rebuild. From the ashes of that great conflict, a new team has arisen. A much, much bigger team.
Each of you brings something different to the table.
Old friends, new heroes, and And as usual, plenty of bad guys jumping up to get beat down.
Calm down, and I'll let you go. How about you kiss my ass?
Watch out, evildoers. There's nowhere to run, because this year they're all around you. The League is unlimited. Toonami presents an all-new original series, starring every superhero worth cheering for, and then some. Justice League Unlimited, premiering July 31st at 8:30 p.m.
Now where am I exactly?
Among friends.
There's strength in numbers. Only Toonami.
In a future where anyone could be a cyborg, cops are a little different. The legendary cyberpunk classic finally comes to television in an all-new original series, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. New episodes every Saturday night at 12:30. The future is now.
Every night around the world, the children sleep, unaware of danger lurking in the shadows. But this night, a strange tune floats on the wind, and the children, one by one, begin to disappear.
I wonder where she could be going.
They are taken to a land of sweet memories and used to power an evil that feeds on their dreams.
My wonderful black dream hole is consuming dream energy from children.
Now, it's up to Sailor Moon and the Sailor Soldiers to put an end to this nightmare. This time, they're gonna need
Sailor Uranus!
a little help.
Oh! Sailor Neptune!
Sailor Moon Super S, next Friday at 5:30. Dream on.
The children!
Only Toonami.
This place is a town of forgetfulness.
40 years ago, everything we knew was destroyed. The face of the planet changed forever.
There isn't anyone who really knows exactly what did happen.
The survivors left without memories. In the aftermath, a new society has formed.
I perform a much-needed job here in the city of amnesia.
In Paradigm City, the rich close themselves into giant domes, while the poor must live without protection. But one man stands for something more, and he does it in serious style.
As a professional, I just try to do my best.
His name is Roger Smith, the Negotiator.
Try this.
Goes against my principles, but I don't have a choice.
His allies, an android, a butler, and Big O.
It's showtime!
When they start a job, they always see it through.
Rest in peace! Bye-bye!
Enemies of Paradigm City, beware. There's a new robot on the block.
You're not going anywhere! You crazy little fool! You're gonna get yourself killed! Time to finish this!
We can't stay here if we do!
It ends it once and for all!
Big O, weekdays at 5:30. Good guys still wear black. Only Toonami.
The destruction of Unicron has created a black hole, which threatens to swallow the planet.
Let's go!
Now, the Autobots' only hope is to find the ancient planet keys.
Prepare for battle!
But as usual, the Decepticons aren't playing along.
Beat it, Megatron! Oh, really?
Transformers Cybertron. New episodes, Saturdays at 7. Unlock the power.
Gotcha!
Only Toonami.
From beyond any known galaxy, bringing with them the laws and ideals of their doomed planet Thundera, come the Thundercats. Jaka, the wise. Tigra, the invisible. Chitara, the quick. Wily Cat and Wily Kit, a cunning junior duo. Patrol, the deadly. And the Snarf. The Thundercats, all sworn to serve their young lord, Lion-O, and to instruct him in the secrets of the Eye of Thundera. The the eye embedded in the hilt of the mystic Sword of Omens, and the source of the Thundercat's power.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats! Ho!
Pursuing the Thundercats to Third Earth, and determined to possess the Eye of Thundera for their own evil purposes, are the hideous mutants of the planet Plundar, led by the reptilian Sly. They form an unholy alliance with the ageless devil priest of First Earth, Mumra.
Reactor engaged. Faction locked. All go.
Hello, dear viewers. Let me go ahead and just do a little bit of cleanup here, because we still have a Lulu up here, and she will not be joining us, nor will Monstrous. It's just going to be me and you guys tonight. Sorry, not going to have any guests on for this stream, and frankly, even if I invited them, I don't think they'd want to show. So, as normal, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. The last stream was fun. Maybe we'll do it again in the future. It seemed to have amused some people. And of course, you know, engaging the community is always good. So, what's this about? Which I'm sure a lot of people are asking. And for those of you who always beg for context before the stream starts, if you watch the stream, you will get the context. Just like you don't need to say when the stream starts. I have a literal countdown on the commercials to tell you when it starts. You don't need to post it. People can just scroll through it. So, the only housekeeping I have is not related to anything cringe, like normal. It's just been an interesting new year so far, but I will give you the context for this before we begin. Those of you who may not know, there is a community called the SCC. It stands for Slideshow Commentary Community. Why not SSCC? Because slideshow is one word. That's why. There's your answer. This is a community that technically people... this is going to get people mad. But it's essentially something that was somewhere even Medicare came from. To the point where even in his Mr. Bully account, or Mr. Anti-Bully, I can't remember which one it was, he takes shots at people like Boonslayer and whatnot. Because it's the community he essentially came from. But it's also mostly known for Susie Doodletone's community. Now, we're not here to talk about Susie specifically. We're here to talk about the aftermath of what happened once Susie was outed for actually screwed up crap. And got ran off, and I was given the Cloud Palace, and people have been sifting through it like crazy animals. Now, you would assume with a name like Cloud Palace, and with as soft as literally every member of this community has proven himself to be, that it would be like a hug box of you can only say the most saccharine things, the sweetest things. No, it was an absolute cesspool of like the most malicious debauchery. I can state, honestly, with my full chest, there were people in that server saying more malicious things, more cruel things, than you would find even in like Vlad's server when they're trying to be edgy. Because these people actually mean it, and they hold the dumbest of grudges. Now, what this has done is it has caused people who have had issues with this community, who has victimized them in one way or another, to come out about them. Rin's done that, a few other people have done that. These two individuals were well before my time properly, investing myself in this side of the community. And they go by the name of Silver and Deed. I never met these people until last night. I'm not going to talk about what happened there, because some screwy stuff happened, and we're not going to talk about it publicly. But I decided that I'm going to go through their two streams, or their two videos about it, if I can. I doubt we're going to do it in one sitting, because the first video is 7 hours long, and the second video is 9.5 hours long. And brother, I can't do like 12-hour streams or more for two reasons. Number one, that is unironically loser behavior. I'm sorry. But if you sit on a stream for 12 hours, it's not an accomplishment. You need a job. All right? Secondly, no. I don't even know if we're going to get through this video at 2 times speed tonight, because I sleep. I have a job. I have things to do, and I'm 40. I can't pull all-nighters like the youngins used to. I'm not going through the calls yet. They can have fun with the third video if that's what you're talking about. So I want to explain something very odd about the SCC before we get into this, right? So, story time from the old man. Story time from the old man. So, when Susie initially stepped back and distanced after the fallout from the FCK coming out, first thing the community did was blame me for it. Somehow it was my fault. But because I was around, they decided to do a couple things. Number one, yes, Dog-Eye, you're the only person who can get away with it that I won't bully. Number one, they wanted to interrogate me to make sure I would be a good fit in their community, something they've never done to anybody else, to be very clear. Cringe behavior, we've talked about it before. And then we had a different scenario where an individual who goes by the name of Suv Livy now, which makes me think of a soup, who has been outed for other deranged and abusive behavior and has been ran out of that community. You're welcome. Tried their best to run me out because, and I quote, "It's not fun anymore because we have to hold people to account for being scumbags." Now, does that mean accountability calls inherently? No, but it does mean you don't get away with screwy stuff anymore. And if you're a kid toucher, they're going to find out and we're going to destroy you for it. So it wasn't fun anymore. Essentially, I brought the concept of, moral consistency and adult behavior to a space that hated both. So, I do not doubt that what we are going to find in this video, because I've seen part of it, right? I've seen part of it. What we're going to find in this video is going to be some screwy behavior. Now, one of the people talked about in this is an individual who goes by the name of Donnie or Donnie-mation, and I need to be as clear as possible here. I never liked this little weirdo. And I'm not saying that in a I must pretend I could see the future nonsense, alright? I actually told people when I ran into him, there's something wrong with this guy. There's something severely wrong with this guy. So, Donnie had a polycule, which in and of itself, who cares, right? It doesn't really matter. But the problem I saw with Donnie is whenever Donnie got offended about the tiniest little thing, people would have absolute crusades for him against the person who offended, the oh-so-precious Donnie. Because, don't you know, guys, don't you know, they have triggers and PTSD and trauma, and therefore must be protected at all costs. They're just a sweet little uwu baby. Now, whenever I see somebody treating someone like a sacred cow, my inner, biblical Josiah shows up, and I just want to destroy the idol. I call it. I'm like, watch, this person's going to be an absolute scumbag, because nobody who's held up like that much of a golden calf isn't a terrible person. Lo and behold, Cloud Palace Logs came out. Now, I don't know why it was looked over to begin with, because apparently some of Donnie's partners were in there, and maybe didn't quite look as deep as they should have. But here's some of Donnie's behavioral patterns that I'm aware of. Talking the worst and most atrocious trash about people while pretending to be nice to them. Donnie is an individual who had been sexually assaulted. The person who did it is an individual who went by the name of Vivian, who is dead now because they flame on themselves in order to remove themselves from the census, which I recommend to anybody who does sexual assault, frankly. But even with that in the background, Donnie still told people that a specific friend of mine, who I'm not going to name here because it's not my story to put out publicly, wishes they would have been assaulted sexually, which is a totally hinged thing to say when you are allegedly a victim of that. And when, hold on real quick, I told this to someone, they got extremely upset down with self-deletion when effing Keyblade told him to shut up. Brother, if Keyblade tells you to shut up, you should have just bullied him to death. And yes, it is the Donnie that was brought up in Cloak and Dagger. But when it finally came home to roost, keep in mind, Donnie has been in multiple unironic accountability calls I've had in the past, right? He's been there. He spearheaded parts of them. When it came time to pay the piper, you guys will never guess what Donnie did. I'm just going to make you guess. So, 1, did he stay and face the music like a man? 2, did he hide behind somebody else and have the music relayed to him? Or 3, did he run screaming from everywhere in every account he had? So 1, 2, or 3, chat. What do you think he did? Let's see what the chat says. It'll be fun. Do 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 do. Man, chat's lagging hard this time, but nah, you're all right. 3, they ran. I want to be very clear. I want a call with Donnie. Now, am I going to straighten up and put my chest out and be Donnie? I will preach upon you the wrong you have done, and I will hold you to account in this court of law. This internet court of law. No. I have made this very clear. I would not have that call to do accountability or to have victim testimony. I would just have that call and try to bully him into removing himself from the census. I would say every single triggering thing to him. I would say every egregious thing I could imagine. Apparently, one of his triggers, because I had to censor something for him. So there was a call we had with somebody named Veritas, who I've talked about a couple times on the channel before, where only my audio picked up because I'm a boomer. And at one point, and I had this clip because people thought it was really funny, I told Ephraim something along the lines of either, Ephraim, I'm going to strangle the life from you, or I'll break his neck or something. That offended Donnie because he has trauma about neck injuries. I would just keep talking about how I want to snap his neck and how I want to twist it until he looks like an owl. I would just be as cruel as possible because I am so... You guys have to understand, there's a lot of stuff that I have to deal with in these communities that never once actually hit the channel or social media. I'm so done. I'm so done trying to be polite and nice and courteous to people like Donnie and the people who enable them. So my value in that would not be to hold Donnie to task righteously. It would be, okay, Donnie, let's see if I can get you to kill yourself. Let's see if I can get you to completely freak out and melt down and turn into a pile of absolute tears. That's what I would do to Donnie. And I'm not going to apologize for it. And anybody who's trying to come at me, you can cry about it. I don't care. Have fun trying to corral him and get him to pretend he's a victim of mine. Enjoy that. Right? Yes, Chad, man, I've heard. But the thing is, there's only so many times I can go after somebody like Vincent Martin and bully him before I'm just bullying the disabled. And as much as Vincent Martin is a moron who should be pointed and laughed at, he's not a kid toucher. He's just an idiot. So, I would love to bully Donnie into exiting this world. But they're talked about in this video I'm about to go over. So we don't wind up going as long in the tooth as one would imagine. Let's go ahead and boop. And let's make sure this is large enough. Whomst calls me. 1-800 number. I not know nor care about you. Now, there's going to be screen caps on here. You guys may not be able to see it. I'll try to read it out as best as possible. Okay? Okay. Oh God, who's messaging me now? Whomst, you dorks. Of course, the worst of possible times. One moment. Oh, God. I can't do anything about that right now. Anyways, when we have a screen cap, I will read it out as best as possible because there's some things I already know about that are not accurate to reality. So let's go ahead and set the playback speed to 2, and we'll try our best there, right?
What we do here is go back.
Sorry, couldn't hear you. What were you saying?
I said I was going to record for a new video. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Gotcha. Alright, sounds good.
Thanks. Haven't been here in a while, but surprisingly, the cleaning lady kept the place the same. I should give her a raise. Guess I should check the mail. No doubt the explosives would have gone off by now. Let's see. Bill, spam mail, bill, eviction notice, bill, jury duty, bill, more bills, spam, ton, foreclosure notice, more spam. Ton of spam. Wow, that's a lot of spam. I mean, really. Ooh, spam the meat. I like spam the meat. Spam the meat's actually pretty good. Spam, my death certificate from Killland, bills, and... Oh, hey!
Not related to this, but spam. Do not talk about spam around Slug. He went to the spam museum and bought variety of spam that I think should be against the Geneva Convention. I think you know, I think that it's just morally reprehensible.
You? I didn't know I was doing a co-op. Again. What else am I useful for?
Silver? Why the fuck is... Wait, why did I just call you Silver?
Because that's my name?
No, Silver's your name, not... God damn it.
I'm not following what the joke is here. Did I grab the wrong script?
No, Silver, listen. No, I'm not here to do a co-op with you.
Oh. But then why are you wearing my second skin?
Silver, I swear to God... Listen, okay? You're not doing this anymore, remember? We talked about this?
I'm not doing commentaries anymore? Then what am I doing?
How do I put this without breaking the fourth wall that was apparently here this whole time? Well, let's say your new content is more practical. Huh?
Oh, okay, I see what you're putting down now.
Oh, thank God.
If that's the case, we won't be needing this setup anymore. Flashbang time!
Yep, you certainly won't. Wait, Flash, what now?
That's one way to transition out of that. And you just add those lying around.
I have ever since I started this skit.
Right. Right. Now, Michael, darling, I thought we kind of, moved on from that and starting new, more practical.
Well, I was going to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, you see, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the hellfire outside has made it really difficult to film.
Oh, right. That.
Yeah, I do not know why, but when I started doing commentaries again, I noticed that started to quell the fire a bit. You know, I figured if my choices were either that or dying from smoke inhalation, and my lungs are a bitch.
And that's the only way to quell that thing.
As far as I know, I've tried a few other things. I tried fire extinguisher, I tried water,
Guys, if you're doing a serious video about how you've been wronged, maybe don't start your video with a silly sketch. Or a skit. Or whatever this is. Because it's not even funny.
Tried yelling at it even. No, that didn't really seem to do anything. In fact, that exasperated it.
Huh.
Oh, that's probably just junk mail. Or it could be bills. Which I guess could also be considered junk mail, depending on the person.
Nope. I'll tell you one thing. This is our ticket out of here to get rid of that hellfire.
Now, you actually can insert some humor in a video or a story about sexual harassment. Like, how do I put this? Somebody was regaling to us, for lack of a better word, their story where they were being sexually harassed at VidCon. And at one point, the girl who was harassing him said, "Hey, how about you join me in the girls' restroom?" Now, because of how my brain works, my first thought were I in his shoes was, why would I go to the girls' restroom? I'm not a girl. Not this person's coming on to me. Not this person made a pass at me. But that's the girls' restroom. That happens to me a lot.
Your discretion is advised.
What you are reading on screen right now is real, and will be talked about in depth within this video.
So, for those of you who can't see it, not safe for work topics such as fetishes being discussed, sexual harassment plus objectification. Oh goodness. Sexual, verbal, mental, and physical abuse, rape and sexual assault, what? CSA, molestation, etc. Abuse and manipulation of the vulnerable, mockery of trauma, gaslighting and victim blaming, grooming, predatory behavior, and pedophilia, sexism and ableism, animal cruelty plus death, blood plus violent imagery, xenophobia, racism, lolicon, shotacon. Well, I mean, you can just put that with the pedophilia. Vomiting plus gagging noises, suicide ideation, self-harm, heavy discussion on cults, and one brief mention of school shootings. What? 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 All you need now is larceny, arson, and manslaughter. Next time, people.
This is why we have given the precaution to tread this video carefully if you are triggered by any of the following. This video will not be going anywhere, so please take this at your own pace. Since the beginning...
I, on the other hand, am not triggered by any of that. I am not locked in the room with the triggers. They're locked in the room with me.
of 2021, my partner and I have been subjected to a slew of false allegations, harassment, and, to put it bluntly, a defamation campaign on both our relationship and our reputation online, my partner being targeted more than myself. I say this as Deed will be speaking the most as it has affected her the most, but don't worry, I have plenty to say on this matter myself. We stayed silent for years about this because not only did we want to move past this, but my partner Deed was terrified of speaking publicly about any of this, and for very good reason. We only had speculation and theories on how this all began, but not anymore. In mid-2025, we were given solid proof and confirmation on how this all began, and with that, we are going to go over everything that was spewed publicly and privately, and we will not be holding back. We will not be silent about this any longer, but I want to make it known. We were unreasonably nice when we first wanted to speak up about all this, but all anonymity and kindness has dissipated. That is how damning and cruel the information we have been given was. Let that be known. We demand this to stop. We demand apologies, and to those unwilling to give us that, then we demand your continued silence henceforth.
Although we are...
I'm gonna be blunt, you can't demand apologies because then it's not even genuine. Kinda goofy.
Removing anonymity, those who were not involved in the libel threat on us will remain anonymous. While we were hurt by these people, they did not engage nor participate in the defamation campaign. But with that being...
Nah, call them out. I'm not cool with the bystander effect. Screw all that.
Said, you know who you are, and we will not hesitate to out you if you choose to deflect or even attempt to defend your actions towards us. Either apologize to us directly for the pain you caused, or remain silent and live with what you did. We will also be censoring any confident information regarding mine or others' trauma. While these people did damaging things to us, we don't want to stoop to their level. We have no reason to out any sensitive information about these people. As for myself, I suffer from complex PTSD. Ever since childhood, I have endured a plethora of traumatic experiences, many of...
Nah, dox all of their information, including the location of their Neopets and Beanie Babies.
Which I wish to not speak publicly on or...
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to briefly talk about certain traumatic events I endured in my childhood, regardless if I want to or not, and you will soon see why that is the case later on. All I ask is for people to respect my privacy / wish of me not wanting to discuss it any further. Thank you. There are ways to avoid it, unless it's already been taken from you. The reason why I had to be blunt about what happened to me is because that was already taken away from me, the option to have that private like I wanted to. So, no, you absolutely could.
Or I am simply not ready to speak up about just yet. So, any redacted information you will see censored is in regards to that. However, you don't really need to know the exact trauma to get the context regardless. And since these people have this sensitive information about me, seeing as they mocked it, I will be stating this now. I do not, under any circumstances, give consent to anyone to out or go into detail about the trauma I endured. Anyone who does so will merely be going against a victim's wishes, and I think says enough on who they are as a person. And finally, while we will be taking this all seriously, as heavy subject matter will be...
I'm pausing that for a reason. The people who know the reason why, enjoy that. Think about it for a bit.
Thus, some claims were so asinine and flat-out ridiculous, we will be making potshots and lightening the mood in those segments. We will not be mocking anyone's appearance or trauma, nor mocking any serious subject matter. And just to clarify, there is a distinct difference between mockery and dark humor.
Now, I want to be very clear. I've been accused of some really goofy things, and I just run with them. Like, I had one group of morons try to accuse me and Senate of being, like, part of the FBI or the CIA. We just ran with it.
Why we started the video off with a lighthearted skit. We didn't want folks to get jump scared and hit with immediate dread. Plus, Michael and I have coped with this whole ordeal with dark humor.
In fact, one of the goofy allegations I actually don't take seriously is the cult allegations. Because, brother, if I'm running a cult, I'm running the worst cult ever. Nobody listens to me. I get bullied constantly in my own server, and I'm the one losing money.
Allegations were made on us, and the evidence, and quite frankly, the reaction was a mockery in of itself.
In the description will be timestamps for the video so you can pause and come back at your own accord, and a link dedicated to all the screenshots and evidence that back up our claims, sensitive information, of course, being redacted. With that all being said, I want to make clear that the slideshow commentary community, or the SCC, which we will refer to it from now on, took great part in this defamation campaign against us, but this is not about the SCC in its entirety. The people who hurt us happen to be involved or was once part of the SCC, and while we are going to talk about a correlation to the SCC and criticize the SCC for many things, this video is more so us clearing our names and putting rumors and false allegations to rest. This is not a call-out post to the SCC in its entirety. There's certainly plenty if you know where to look, however. This video's targeted audience is meant towards mine and Deed's audience alongside anyone who's heard over the years these false allegations that were being said of us. If you were a stranger, or by God, if YouTube decided to put this video in your recommendations, I'm so sorry. I apologize for the confusion and utter whiplash. Although we will give some context onto who these individuals are, we are going into this with the expectation people know who and what we are talking about, because there's already enough that we have to go over as is. With disclaimers out of the way now, it's only right to start from the beginning.
Average pervert? What?
It's best to start with why everything happened to us the way it did, and that is because I endured a traumatic incident by a well-known slideshow commentator within the community who was defended, protected, and I was not only left in the dirt into accepting the fact no one would ever believe me, but it was my entire social circle I had accumulated over the years who conspired behind my back and did all this. All for an average pervert. All of this for Albie Holtman. This video is going to be long enough as is, as we are going to have to disprove over a year's worth of false claims, so I won't be delving into the nitty-gritty details of what Albie did to me, but I will give you enough context to understand how traumatic this was for me. The Albie situation will be brought back up constantly throughout this video, so I won't go into everything right now, as I don't wish to repeat myself, but I will still give you the overall TLDR, and then go into more detail once I get to a segment where I can do just that. With that being said, we're going back to 2019. Back in 2019, I was invited to a server from someone who I was close with at the time. I thought this was a good idea due to me and the owner of said server being close, so I trusted them. I clearly shouldn't have, as this person was involved in the defense campaign for Albie later on. When I joined the server, there were several people in it that I knew and didn't know, and Albie was someone I did not know. In fact, this was one of the few servers I ever shared with him. I did not know Albie all that well. Prior to this, we did have very brief conversations here and there in DMs, one of which was Albie making an implied rape joke, and, I I think my brain blocked that out for a reason. Anyway,
let's go back.
In fact, this was one of the few servers I ever shared with him. I did not know Avi all that well. Prior to this, we did have very brief conversations here and there in DMs, one of which was Avi making an implied...
I tried to F him in the butt and his house exploded. Honestly, one of the funniest things I've ever done. So how is this... How is this a rape joke? What?
Rape joke, and, I think my brain blocked that out for a reason.
That's not a rape joke. You want to hear a rape joke, go talk to Vlad literally any day, at any time, at any moment. Like, he'll tell you the difference. I promise you. I promise you! Hold on. Asuka. Boop. And once again, boop.
Anyways, we had brief conversations with one another because I formerly was in a server Doodle Tone Zone, but that was as far as the conversations went, and we did not become companions, nor got to know each other at all. It wasn't until I joined this server that Avi spoke to me, attempting to get close to me. I say this because Avi kept referring to us as friends in DMs. We weren't. I barely knew him. I was 19 when this incident with Avi occurred. However, I want to explain that I went through extreme, intense psychological abuse in my teen years. So although legally I was an adult, mentally I was still a teenager. Because of this, I involved myself in situations that were reckless. Part of the reckless behavior I partook in was going into not safe for work servers and chat rooms and talking about my sexual experiences that, at the time, I didn't realize were heavily abusive and even non-consensual. I say this as there were many chat rooms within the server, many of which were sexual in nature, with not safe for work artwork, the chat room specifically talking about kinks and fetishes. With this information I just provided, I did partake in those chat rooms and shamelessly shared that I had recently come to terms with a fetish I had, but did not disclose what it was. I have since learned over the years, and speaking with a therapist, that this wasn't a sexual fetish, but rather was a coping mechanism and overall just a fascination for a form of art that allows me to express myself.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you are mentally, and I hate having to use this terminology because I think it's the dumbest cop-out ever, if you are mentally a teenager, it is not literally anybody else's fault that they engage with you as an adult, because the legal law, like the legal aspect, is all that can really be adhered to in that aspect. And if you had said, I am mentally a teenager, I shouldn't be in these spaces, you probably should have just left, frankly.
Due to how shameful and embarrassing this part of my life is, I will not be disclosing the alleged fetish I thought I had at the time. That being said, Avi showed immediate interest in what I had said, and even went into my private DM.
$20 says the fetish is clowns.
To ask me all about it, and because I was indulging in reckless behavior at the time, I decided to tell Avi what it was. And to say that their response was excitement is underestimating it. He went on saying that he had never met someone with a fetish like mine, and that he was very fascinated by it, which, looking back, was the first sign of what was about to come, but I glossed over it and thought nothing of it at the time. Avi then proceeded to tell me his fetish, something I did not ask about. He did this at his own accord, which was specifically on a particular body part, that being the nose, and a fetish towards sneezing. I didn't kink shame him, but just responded with a okay cool sort of attitude, and kinda just wanted to leave it at that. I didn't have an interest in diving the discussion further, as I wasn't interested in hearing about his fetish, i.e. sex life, because it makes me uncomfortable when women detail sexual stuff towards me, due to my sexual trauma, but also due to my sexuality status being heterosexual.
Why were you talking about yours in a server you know people are going to engage you on?
Yeah, so this incident occurred during the time Avi went by she, her, and identified as a trans woman. And the latter, regarding my sexuality, was stated by me in the server, so Avi was aware of my sexuality. I even had made references to me only being attracted to men in our DMs, but that was unfortunately ignored and brushed off. I say this because Avi objectified and sexualized me many, many times. Avi would constantly attempt to flirt with me and continuously complimented my body.
Okay, and that Avi said they were cute. So moving on.
Some of these compliments were out of the blue, others were in reply to posting photos in the server, to which Avi specifically pointed out a specific body part of mine. That being my nose.
I just want to say, you got a cute nose. Oh, thank you. Heh.
Which Avi made clear was their fetish. Avi complimenting my nose was the most recurring compliment. At one point, I ended up telling Avi about my unique sneezes as a means to gross them out, but instead it had the opposite effect.
If you knew his fetish was noses and sneezing, which he's always made very clear, by the way, why would you tell him about your sneezes?
To which he replied saying that those were the type of sneezes that were the hottest and the ones that turned them on the most. This reply clearly made me uncomfortable. I didn't tell them outright I was uncomfortable with their flirtatious acts and compliments at the time because I was scared. I have had a history with women being flirtatious towards me, despite making clear I had no interest in them, and they either proceed to brush it off or get aggressive with me and downplay it despite my discomfort. So I attempted to brush them off and downplayed it as nothing more than odd comments or Avi's way of being nice, as, after all, I did not know Avi. They were a stranger to me. Despite the conversations we would have, they were, and still are, a stranger to me.
So I want to be very blunt here. If you are having an interaction with somebody online, and they're getting sexual with you, and you are not comfortable with it, tell them no. Well, I'm scared. Of what? What are they going to do? Type in all caps at you? Try to drag you in a call? The word no is very powerful, because at some point, they're going to have to accept it. Like, flatly. I mean, and look, I get having trauma about things. I get freezing in the moment, or fawning, or whatever. But, like, brother, come on. This isn't even in person, right? This is online, where there's a screen between you and the other person, and probably hundreds of thousands of miles. Just, why the melodrama? Just say, yeah, the dude was a creep. I just never told him to piss off. And yes, they were an adult during this.
I know more about what turns him on than what his hobbies are. Going back to the initial conversation, unfortunately, despite me wanting to move on from the topic at hand, Avi didn't stop and continued the conversation, furthering discussing both our fetishes. Although I was weirded out, I didn't want to be rude, so I allowed him to continue. And the conversation soon led to him describing scenarios that combined both our fetishes, which is the turning point and where I got extremely uncomfortable. Yes, it keeps going, and yes, it gets worse from here on out. Avi proceeded to ask me personal questions regarding my fetish, and soon went from talking about both our fetishes to solely focusing and talking about mine. This went on for a while.
If you have DMs with them, why don't you put some of those on the screen for this part?
And I do have an explanation for why I didn't say anything up until this point. I had a deep, genuine fear of saying no to women because of my surroundings growing up. In my early childhood, when I told my mother no, she would proceed to get aggressive and either hit me or yell at me. I have also had a multitude of other women in my life that, when I spoke up about the mistreatment towards me, they would simply brush it off or get more physical with me. And at 15 years old, I was raped by a girl around my age. Someone I thought I could trust, who I thought was my pal, and someone my parents allowed into our home, to which they took advantage of me. The night that I was raped, I told my rapist no, and she attacked me. I told them to stop. I even tried to fight back, but I couldn't. And she proceeded to violate me. She did this more than once. She bragged about it even. I hate that if Avi had just been male identifying, maybe then I could have stood up for myself. But then again, I don't know. Because it's not like I haven't had men in my life take no for an answer either. Regardless, the fact that Avi was a stranger to me made me even more cautious and, quite frankly, fucking terrified, because I had no idea if Avi was going to get verbally aggressive with me or even threaten me. So needless to say...
If they were going to, just block them. Like, Avi's a do-nothing nobody. What could they have done? Like, I'm asking genuinely, what could they actually have done? Been a dick. Bully Avi back. It's not hard.
I was scared. However, I did eventually stand up for myself when things finally went too far. Unfortunately, as I had feared, Avi just disregarded it. One day, Avi suggested that he should send me photos of themselves partaking in my fetish.
I've been taking requests from friends lately. It's been helping with my self-esteem a bit. Oh, well, that's good. It's always good to boost up your self-esteem. Okay, sign. Yeah, it's mostly for friends who like the snez as well. I guess that means sneeze. If I blank, blank, blank. What? Why is this censored? Who cares? It's Avi. Who cares? I'll be sure to tell you. Gah, you really don't have to do that. Seriously. I wonder when it was edited. Because, gah, you really don't have to do that. It's not inherently, like, immediately saying, no, don't. It's, oh, you don't have to do that. Just say, no, I'm not interested.
Although these photos weren't nudes, they were sexual in nature, because a fetish, 9 times out of 10, is sexual in
Well, who cares?
nature. This is when I finally stood my ground and told them that I did not want that, and I did not consent nor was comfortable with that. But Avi did so anyways. In fact, they had already sent me fetish photos by...
There's nothing here. And apparently this fetish photo... Well, we are talking about noses, Vlad. This fetish photo isn't even explicit. There's no genitalia involved at all. Also, hold on, let me... I hate how big this thing is, because let me backtrack a little if I can. Where's the other screen cap? I hate how quick it passes by.
Telling Avi about my unique...
Where are we? Alright, so that was further in. Let's try to find the other screen cap. No. Was it actually the one I just went to? I don't think it was. Let's find out. We're going to be here a while, chat. My apologies.
Going back to the initial conversation.
Come on. I can never remember how to do, like, the frame-by-frame take back on it, so... I know there's a way to do it, I just can't remember what it was. Alright, so let's try it like this.
And someone my parents allowed into our home, to which they took advantage of me. The night that I was raped, I told my rapist no, and she attacked me. I told them to stop. I even tried to fight back, but I couldn't. And she proceeded to violate me. She did this more than once. She bragged about it even. I hate that if Avi had just been male identifying, maybe then I could have stood up for myself. But then again, I don't know. Because it's not like I haven't had men in my life take no for an answer either. Regardless, the fact that Avi was a stranger to me made me even more cautious and, quite frankly, fucking terrified, because I had no idea if Avi was going to get verbally aggressive with me or even threaten me. So needless to say, I was scared. However, I did eventually stand up for myself when things finally went too far. Unfortunately, as I had feared, Avi just disregarded it. One day, Avi suggested that he should...
Okay, so this is on April 3rd of 2019. Okay? April 3rd of 2019. Remember that.
send me photos of themselves partaking in my fetish. Although these photos weren't nudes, they were sexual in nature, because a fetish, 9 times out of 10, is sexual in nature. This is when I finally stood my ground and told them that I did not want that, and I did not consent nor was comfortable with that. But Avi did so anyways. In fact, they had already sent me fetish photos by then.
Okay, so this is before.
When they asked me this question. And despite me telling them I didn't want to receive softcore porn material, they sent me more photos anyways. This went on for months.
Where are you showing that you didn't want to receive that?
This entire incident started from February 2019 to June 2019, so about 5 months. When it wasn't Avi just talking about mundane things, he would send me unsolicited photos or be talking about my fetish. Specifically just mine. He had grown obsessed with my fetish.
You went into a server that had discussions of fetishes, talked about your fetish, and that you're surprised and irritated somebody wanted to talk to you about your fetish? What?
These mundane things aren't very important and are nothing in comparison to the sexual harassment I endured. It ranged from Avi walking me through a Tinder date on Ron, to Avi talking about drama that included him talking poorly about an individual that I was fairly close with at the time. I was rightfully uncomfortable with this, and during the
Okay, that's not sexual harassment though. Why are you cobbling together gossip with sexual harassment?
Conversation, it felt like Avi was trying to convince me this person was awful, so I made clear to him that this was a companion of mine, and that whilst I tried to be respectful regarding his feelings on said individual, I wasn't going to outright believe what Avi said. However, there were other spur-of-the-moment messages Avi sent me that my brain blocked from my memory due to how disgusting these messages were. There was a time Avi unpromptly talked about their genitals to me, which I tried to laugh off, but he proceeded to tell me
I mean, you could ask me about that. I don't really have boundaries. Haha, thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, sign. But I'd be more comfortable asking my partner all about it. Heh. Alrighty, like, I'm just waiting to get my dick removed. Oh yeah, 'cause you're trans male to female, right? At no point is Deed communicating they don't appreciate or reciprocate this conversation. And this is also before the fetish material was sent, because this is in February of 2019.
He'd gladly talk about his genitals towards me, which I told him I wasn't interested, and I'd rather my future partner tell me.
You said, haha, thanks, I'd appreciate that. That's not the same as, no, I'm hearing about it from my partner, please don't bring it up again.
This is again when Avi identified as trans, and I didn't want to tell him off because I didn't want to come off as transphobic, because they mentioned wanting bottom surgery, so I didn't want to come off as rude. There was also another time where Avi randomly messaged me saying they were... I don't even want to say it, so I'll just show it.
God, I'm really horny. And you respond, haha, sadly for me, this is the rare times where I ain't, just a lot of stuff going on that's turning me off. Maybe I'll watch some dude pole dancing to make me feel better. I don't know. That always works. This is not you ignoring it. This is not you telling him no. This is not you trying to play it off. This is you engaging with it. How is this sexual harassment? That and the fact that these are all clipped. You want to convince somebody? Drop the whole logs.
My immediate reaction was to say the opposite and make it very clear that I was into men, which Avi at the time was not. They were a trans woman. The reason I didn't block Avi right away or told him to stop was because every time I got a photo from him, I froze, and I didn't even want to look at my phone, as I
No, we're not skipping this, sorry.
was terrified of him. I was terrified that I was going to be sent unsolicited nudes, that I was going to be sent graphic sexual images, because they were already bordering the line of sending me pornography. Again, while there was no nudity involved in any of the images, he knew this was a fetish of mine, so Avi was essentially trying to arouse me and send me fetish photos, aka adult material, despite me making it very clear I was not into women, despite me making it very clear that I did not want these photos.
Well, I mean, there's no indication he was trying to arouse you. As gay as that may sound, Avi may just be unhinged and talk about sexual stuff all the time, which tends to be what I've seen from him in the past.
And looking back, him going into detail about fantasies involving my fetish was more than likely also an attempt to arouse me. The photos are not where it stopped, however. Yes, I'm serious. No, I wish I was fucking joking. Avi advanced this even further by going as far as saying they went out of their way to do things to themselves just so he could send me more photos. To which I was deeply disturbed.
Evidence?
But not just that. Avi also stated that he started to like and enjoyed partaking in my fetish and sending me these photos. He was getting sexual gratification from sending me unsolicited photos. I felt disgusted and absolutely trapped. I felt like if I told him to stop, to bring up the fact I didn't want these photos in the first place, that he wouldn't even listen to me and just continue anyways. The most I did was express to him that he shouldn't do anything dangerous and that I did not like the idea of Avi hurting themselves. But he didn't care, nor mind at all, and just continuously ignored my pleas. And I need to make this absolutely clear. I did not consent to any of this. The reason I froze every time these photos were sent to me is for several reasons. For one, freeze is a state the body gets into whenever you're in danger or experiencing a trauma response. And in this case, it was both. I want to state clearly that I'm pointing out parallels rather than making comparisons, but what Avi has said and done to me is eerily similar to what my rapist did to me. The night my rapist raped me, she consistently sent me unsolicited Rule 34 images to attempt to arouse me. I never gave consent. These were sent to me unprompted. In fact, I even told her no and to stop, which escalated to her pinning me down on my own bed, forcing me to watch hentai with her, and proceeding to rape me.
Okay, that's not the same as somebody sending you images you don't tell them no to. Look, I'm not about to defend Avi as a person. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I hope Avi dies in a way that is so horrible, so terrible, so violent, and sadistic that every human being on the planet looks at that and says, wow, I sure hope I don't go out like that. But this is not sexual harassment, and they did not do the same thing your rapist did. That's unhinged.
It is very likely I was experiencing severe flashbacks, and I was in a triggered and dissociative state. I even showed signs of the fawning response within our DMs, which is unfortunately a controversial and common trauma response that is used to victim blame people. By the time Avi sent me several photos, told me they were getting off to it, when they asked out of the blue if I was okay with receiving yet another photo, I simply said, long as you're okay with it.
Yeah, with the sweating emoji. Why would you agree to this then?
It's fucked up that I said that, yeah. But
the thing is, I've had people offer to send me images or pornography, my response is, nah, I'm good. It's that simple.
I knew he wasn't going to stop regardless. I knew if I said no, or if I had ignored him, he would have sent it anyways. It's also a common manipulation tactic perpetrators use as a means to control the victim. Do stuff now, and ask later to make it look as if the victim consented in the first place. I was numb at that point to all of it. That was the only other time he asked for my consent. And that was the last time he sent me the fetish photos. The only reason why the photos and the messaging stopped is because Avi randomly had just stopped messaging me, and I felt a huge relief off of my shoulders. My final interaction with Avi was in late June of 2019. When it all stopped, I just proceeded to act like nothing happened, because I was just terrified during the course of those months. And I just felt relief that it all had finally stopped. I told Avi I didn't want those photos. I told them I didn't like it, but they proceeded to send those messages and proceeded to send those photos to me anyways. For quite a while, I victim blamed myself, and others had even victim blamed me for not saying no sooner, or for not just blocking Avi outright. But I was scared. Blocking them from my DMs wasn't going to stop the harassment that was happening in the Discord server, and my body often goes into a free state when I am in an unsafe situation. I cannot control what state my body goes into. I also showed the fawning responses. I did not know Avi's intentions, nor did I know how they were going to respond to me saying no. I was simply trying to survive. And I did. I survived that traumatizing interaction. I eventually left the server in early September of 2019, as I started to feel unsafe not just because Avi was still in that server, but the owner of said server, the one who invited me, went ahead and created a chat room dedicated for me to be able to talk about my fetish, which ended up having many individuals kink shame me and belittle me. Despite me bringing those concerns up to the server owner, they completely brushed them off. The breaking point, however, was triggering content and messages being posted in the server, causing severe flashbacks for me. Being terrified of Avi already, but also now being terrified of the server.
I'm dreading reading Vlad's super chats by the end of the stream. One of them I'm just not reading, I'll be honest, but Vlad, why are you like this?
Owner getting mad at me for leaving said server. I sent them a message saying why I was leaving the server, but I purposefully left.
Hey, blank, I just wanted you to know I've decided to leave your blank server. I really appreciate you making a chat room dedicated to me, or dedicated for me to make M feel comfortable posting stuff regarding my blank fetish. There's enough letters there for it to be clown. But over time, I felt uncomfortable and ashamed due to the other members, and a few nights ago, I was triggered by one of the messages posted in the server. It's no one's fault, as nobody knows about my PTSD nor triggers. In fact, it was something I didn't think would trigger me, but it gave me flashbacks to my sexual assault, so yeah, I know none of this matters, but I just wanted to thank you for yada 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 yada. But unfortunately, I just feel it's the best. I'm not in the server anymore. I deleted all my messages regarding my clown fetish. I'm just going to say it's clowns. Because I still heavily private about it and wouldn't want new members finding out about it. This is in September 2nd, 2019, and we have one on September 7th, 2019. So, and?
Doubt what Avi had done because I was terrified, ashamed, and just wanted to forget the situation entirely. I also thought it wasn't a good idea bringing it up, as most of the interactions were in private DMs, but if I had never joined that server, I would have never experienced that traumatic interaction. To this day, I regret ever joining that damn server. Oh,
okay, guys, I try very, very, very hard to be understanding, to give room for, and to give grace to people's trauma, to people's issues, to what they've dealt with, no matter how much I think it's goofy. But this is dumb. If you're getting actual trauma from consensual conversations in a server, and I'm not talking about they're spamming you with like unhinged crap. Like, I can understand being traumatized by gore or snuff or zoophilic and pedophilic pornography. But if you got... There are more than a handful of times I've ran into people in this space who tell me about their traumas, and while I feel bad that they went through it and that it bothered them, my gut instinct is, why couldn't you just shake it off? And maybe I'm making too many comparisons to my own life in there, but I just power through things, and I don't understand why so many much more minor things just cripple these people. Like, how are you going to survive reality? If your boss gets in your face and yells at you, are you just going to crumble and quit and then not be able to pay your bills? If you get into a car accident, are you going to just fold into a fetal position and cry, thinking it's going to magically make it go away? How do you harden up if this is your bar for trauma? And no, Vlad, Avi's actually a groomer. He's a kid toucher, so no.
Well, you thought it ended here. I still got 2 years worth of context to go into. Welcome to my own personal hell. As I mentioned, I wanted to act as if what happened never even occurred. I kept it to myself for quite a while. That was until a certain incident and allegations came out within the SCC. I had stumbled across the Google Doc of the victim of George Raccoon, Leo, regarding what George had done to them when they were underage, and I had felt that the situation was relatable to what Avi had done to me, as it also involved fetishes and non-consensual acts. I want to state that Avi did not groom me. I was 19, but what he had done was sexual harassment. Leo was sent fetish photos by George without their consent as my...
Sexual harassment requires 2 things minimum. One. It requires them doing it intentionally. And 2, it requires them doing it knowingly. They have to know you do not want that attention, and then they have to give you that attention in a way they know violates your consent with the intention to harass you. You cannot accidentally sexually harass somebody. These DMs, all of this is not indication of sexual harassment. It's indication of Avi being a freak and you reciprocating that. All you had to say was, I shouldn't have continued this. I should have told the weirdo to piss off. That's on me. Framing it as you are being sexually harassed and then tying it into a similarity to somebody who was groomed by another freak. I don't want to use the term stolen valor for victimhood, but that's screwy crap, man. Is it true they sent spicy images to you? Who sent spicy images to me? I don't know who you're talking about.
Minors cannot consent, and that particular information in the testimony made me realize that what Avi had done to me was non-consensual and wrong. Now, I am bringing up the George situation for one very good reason, but I won't spoil that just yet. Regardless, the George situation simply caused me to look back at my situation between me and Avi, and made me realize that what Avi did to me was sexual harassment and was utterly wrong, non-consensual, and disgusting. Of course, having this realization and now feeling absolutely disgusted and shameful inside,
You want to know what the difference between what happened to Leo and what happened to you is? Leo is a child and children can't consent. That's why no matter if Leo even said yes to it, it would not have been considered anything but harassment and grooming, because Leo wasn't an adult. You are. It is not similar. Stop trying to ride the coattails of grooming victims to try to make something worse than what it actually is. Just own the fact that you should have said no, you were being weird yourself engaging in this, and just say, yeah, shouldn't have done that, should have told the little weirdo to go away.
I decided to go into private DMs to confide in people I was close with and vent to them on what had happened to me. It was the first time I was speaking up about the Avi incident. The first person I went to was Rachel Kohai Mills, and another individual back in April of 2020. Yes, I was...
Wait, hold on. Let's back up. And no, she's not claiming that Avi raped her. She is claiming, though, that Avi is somehow similar to her rapist, which is kind of unhinged. Okay, that's over here. We need to go further back. If anybody remembers how to go through things like frame by frame, please tell me, because I keep forgetting how to on this thing. Here we go.
Quote, go forward with this. Not only did they shame me for making this decision, but they also shamed me for not telling them what my fetish was. In my retelling of the event, I had redacted what the photos were and what my fetish was, as I was...
Wait, hold on. Still too far forward.
Realization and now feeling absolutely disgusted and shameful inside, I decided to go into private DMs to confide in people I was close with and vent to them on what had...
Thank you both to Axe and Smout.
...happened to me. It was the first time I was speaking up about the Avi incident. The first person I went to was Rachel Kohai.
Okay, so Rachel Kohai is also a groomer. I don't think they knew this at the time, but let's just say this was also horrifically mishandled. So, let's see here. Okay, the first person was Blink and the other was Avi. Thankfully, I haven't spoken to him in a long time, so I don't have to worry about him anymore. Avi was being creepy to you? I wish I could have just said no or stopped instead of having to wait for them to ghost me. Yeah, sort of. Okay, so you admit here you should have just said no. That's not on Avi, that's on you. Can't say I'm surprised. She was like that with me too. Basically, and explaining what Avi did and such. But I can't help but look back and think, was I being taken advantage of? Or why didn't I just stand up and say no? I'm being a dummy. It's just what I am. Holy crap. I cannot believe she did that. I'm very sorry. Not gonna lie, I, had something similar-ish lately. Really? You don't have to tell me if you're really uncomfy with that. Well, it's not that bad, but it's spawning from the fact that my friend Blank and I have not been on massively great terms. Oh, I wasn't aware. Would they send fetish pics to you too? Well, like one particular instance, what is this proof? You told this freak about it? And?
Mills. And another individual back.
I feel sick. Not physically. Mentally. But what Avi did to me, I can't brush. This is 2 months after they talked to Mills, which was a year after they started talking to Avi. Mentally, I don't know, but what Avi did to me, I can't brush it off. Crap, man. I understand. It's for whatever reason stuck with me. Like, what she did was wrong, and I couldn't stand up for myself. I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed for even allowing her to get to tell her my fetish. Okay? I haven't looked back at the convo. I'm too scared to. I should have never joined that server. It did nothing but trouble for me, so I'm glad I left. Dude, you shouldn't feel ashamed. That blank is bad. I can't see anything. And it's awful, but it isn't your fault. Oh, that sort of crap is bad. I should have said no. I should have told her stop. I tried. You didn't try. I have yet to see in any of those DMs you trying. Whenever someone mentions her, I tense up. Avi is someone who I know for being super horny and thirsty all the time. What she did to you was completely effed up. God, it's so wrong. I told her I liked boys. I'm not into girls that way, so yet she still flirted. She still sent me that crap, and she knew and even teased me because she knew it was my fetish. You told people it was your fetish. You engaged with people about being your fetish. What were you expecting to happen? Like, that's like me talking about how I like thick women and not expecting people to, like, tag me or whatever when they come across a picture of freaking Helen Parr from The Incredibles. Like, it's dumb. It felt like a dude giving me an unsolicited dick pic, which, of course, they didn't do. I effing hate myself. I effing hate I let her do that.
Back in April of 2020. Yes, I was unfortunately pals with Rachel at one point. This will be relevant later on. But you want to know the kicker? She was the only person who believed me. Yes, it takes being a pervert to know one, huh? Anyways, after confiding in these two, I decided to sit down and write out my experience in late June of 2020 within a twit longer on my private Twitter account, which not many people at the time were following. But don't worry, I still remember who did, and so had access to that twit longer. After I'd written out this twit longer, the next person I was to tell about this was within Discord call, who I will refer to as B. Now at the time, I only wanted B to have this information, however, they wanted to tell their partner, I'll call them C, to be aware of this information, but I strictly told them to not tell C, as I was not ready for others to know about this. It was only until I'd started speaking to C again that within a Discord call with them, Avi was briefly mentioned, and C revealed that B had already told them what he did to me, and they proceeded with, quote, I'm still going to be friends with her. I was, rightfully so, completely distraught and upset with not only with C on what they had said, but also the fact that B had disregarded my request and went out of their way to tell their partner regardless.
Probably because what he did doesn't match up to actual sexual harassment. Why would anybody stop being friends with them because you were uncomfortable and didn't tell somebody no? That's not on them, that's on you.
When I confronted B about this, they did apologize, but proceeded to gaslight me by essentially telling me that what they did was perfectly fine, actually, as it was their partner, and that their partner deserves to know everything.
No, I won't defend that person. They shouldn't have said a word if they promised they wouldn't.
Despite my request being, they do not know until I am ready. C was going to know, but when I was ready to talk about it. Not only that, but when I mentioned what C had said, B replied saying that I simply misinterpreted what they had stated. Because I was not mentally stable and distraught at the time, I believed B's poor excuses, but in my mind, I thought B had not told their partner the entire story and only snippets of it as a way to justify the demeaning comments C made towards me. So, I decided that I'd talk to them both within a Discord call and would tell them from start to end what Avi did to me. Now, in this Discord call, both of them stated that actually they weren't close with Avi, like, at all. They hardly knew him and were only in, like, a few servers with him, that's all. C had essentially redacted the comment they had made in the previous Discord call. I want you to remember this. I want you to remember that these two stated they had absolutely no personal connection with Avi, and in fact, were not buddies with him.
Okay.
I want you to remember this because you'll be shocked to see the intense gaslighting that was committed here.
Okay.
At this point, I decided to start writing a Google Doc retelling my account of what Avi did to me. This document has never been publicly published. It was only ever shared privately within a private Discord server of mine. The only people who had ever read the document were those I considered my close pals at the time. However, the last person I told before sharing this document to my private Discord server was my partner, Michael. Michael and I officially started dating August 7th of 2020, and in the early weeks of us dating, I soon found out that Michael was close pals with Avi. Of course, knowing your partner's buddies with a sexual harasser of yours, it can leave you feeling many things. I eventually gathered the courage to talk to Michael in a Discord call, telling him what Avi had done to me, and that I was not comfortable with him hanging around them. Although I understood that they were buddies, I could not confide in myself to date someone who was close with a sexual harasser of mine. Michael, of course, being the kind and understanding partner he was, not only understandably had mixed feelings about the situation, but was ultimately on my side.
To explain my relationship with Avi, I had initially met him, I believe, in around 2016 or 2017. Truthfully, I don't really remember, as Avi was just someone who was around my space at that time, and we weren't particularly close. We had grown closer, however, around 2018 when I was dating another person who was close to him at the time, who will remain anonymous. Both during and after the relationship, we remained pretty close friends due to relating in shitty situations and our shared love of Dragon Ball. In the time I knew him, I personally had no reason to believe he was doing anything wrong until I started dating Deed in 2020, and she told me what had happened.
This section's only another... 12 minutes? No, 24 minutes. The rest of the video, though, Vlad has a runtime of 7 hours and 20 minutes.
With her. That being said, I do feel I should have noticed Avi's more sexual behavior. He would often joke sexually around me and others, and I feel the only reason I hadn't noticed that was because I was in an already pretty sexual environment, that being the SCC, where Avi was as well. I do want to clarify and reassure that, although we won't be showing exactly what happened between Dean and Avi, that it was real, and it happened. And there will be later evidence that we will be willing to show that corroborates this.
If you're not willing to drop the logs that prove that she's telling the truth, then don't open your mouth about it.
As well. To say that I was disgusted at what I saw is undermining it, and my disgust for Avi has only grown when I learned both from Deed and others online that he had been sexually harassing others, repeatedly, for years. One person had approached Deed about being sexually targeted by Avi, and gave Deed consent to tell me that it had happened and who else it was.
I need to talk to you about something. You didn't do anything wrong, don't worry, it's just important. Sure, what's up? It's about Avi plus J. I'm just scared. When I told Michael what AXJ did... Wait... They're censoring the name Avi. Are you kidding me? He was pissed. Not at me, at him. Because they are close and he wants to confront him. I'm really scared because I don't know what Avi is going to do or say. I told him Avi is still doing unwanted flirting advances because of what you said in your vent. But I didn't tell him it was you. Just that Avi was continuing to do it. It's okay if you want to tell him it was me you were talking about. TBH, I don't really speak to Avi as much as I used to, given what he did to me. He broke my trust. So now he's at arm's length. So it wasn't the sexual harassment?
This person, alongside any other victims of Avi, of course, will not be named. Knowing that this was repeat behavior and did not just happen with Deed, who had already blocked him and made it impossible for him to reach her again, is what led me to confront him directly. This conversation went as follows. I want to believe that everything that happened at the beginning of this year with everything you did when this incident occurred, that maybe a specific circumstance just hurt you deeply and you lashed out and it wouldn't happen again. But then I kept learning more and more about what you've been doing to the people I care about. I learned about the things you sent to Deed a year ago, and it's shit that still heavily affects her to this day. She considers you a trigger now. And I still wanted to believe you moved on from making unsolicited, unwanted sexual...
I hate the SCC's obsession with triggers, their obsession with censoring them. If a name, and I said this, and it's upset some people, I'll still say it, get over it. If a name, to that degree, over somebody just being a dick, and nothing more, is so bad that you need it censored, brother, why are you here? Go get actual help. Avi wasn't a stalker. Avi wasn't obsessing over this person. They had buyer's remorse from sexting Avi and turned it into an entire crusade. This is ridiculous.
Sexual flirtatious advances. I really did. But then I hear you're still doing this even as recent as a couple of months ago. Just because someone doesn't say no doesn't mean yes. Some people can't say no, and that's beyond unfair and manipulative to take advantage of. I just want to know why you did these things.
What do you mean? How are you going to know if they don't tell you no? How are you taking advantage if you don't know that they're not able to tell you no? What is this logic? What is this victim-obsessed narrative?
Why you've made unwanted advances to the people I can't even name because they're scared of you. You've done a fuck ton of a lot for me, and it's shit I do genuinely appreciate, but I can't overlook what happened when this incident occurred, or what you did to my girlfriend, or what you're apparently still doing. And to be blunt, I don't want forgiveness to be your main goal. I want you to be better than this.
Wait, what exactly did I do with Dean? I legit have no clue, and I need to know, because I'm always terrified of going too far with what I say, but nobody ever told me what too far was.
From what she's shown me, you two met in a server, and you did things involving a fetish of hers.
Oh my god, I know now. Okay, here's the thing, and I expect literally zero forgiveness for this. But me talking to her about it and all the shit I did was under the assumption that it made her happy. That is the absolute honest-to-God truth. I am so sorry. I wish I knew what I was doing was affecting her like that sooner, and I would have stopped. Because the last thing I want to do is make people uncomfortable like that.
Late August of 2020.
Okay, so when this degenerate freak is told that made them uncomfortable and they wish you hadn't done it, their first motion is to say, I'm sorry. Not to defend themselves. All they said was, I did it because I thought it made them happy. I'm sorry, that's again not sexual harassment. That's this person trying to operate in one way or another under as much good faith as possible. What is this nonsense? How is this sexual harassment? Somebody walk me through it like I'm 5, please. This is ridiculous.
Is when I officially released my Google document in regards to Avi on my private Discord server. I was under the notion that everyone had access to it and everyone would see it, read it, and hope...
I'm going to put a ban on Google Docs in this community. You people make Google Docs on the most mundane and dumbest things ever.
...understand that I was not comfortable with anyone hanging around this individual, nor mentioning his name around me. I want to make this clear that me releasing this Google document in a private Discord server was in no way me trying to ruin Avi's reputation. This wasn't revenge nor call out. That was the last thing that was on my mind.
If you want to do a vent, get a diary.
The only thing I wanted was for people close to me to be aware of why this person made me uncomfortable and why I wished for no one to associate, hang around him, nor mention his name around me. Unfortunately, some individuals had thought otherwise. These individuals were B and C, who in a Discord call proceeded to victim blame me and attempted to pressure me to come forward publicly about this information. I told them that I wasn't comfortable going public, as at the time, I didn't feel like it was right to oust Avi for what he did to me publicly, as I thought it was a one-time thing and no other victims were known.
Except for the fact that you just mentioned that they were doing it to other people, because you were literally just talking about how they did it to other people. And also, I'm going to be that guy, alright? I'm going to be that dickhead. Right now, I'm going to be that dickhead. If you have been sexually harassed by somebody, or touched by somebody, or that, you need to come forward with it. I'm going to tell you why you need to come forward. It might not be comfortable. It might not be fun. It won't be fun. It won't be comfortable. It will be scary. Because if you don't, that allows them to do it to other people. And that's not okay. Should the onus be on you as a victim? No. But we don't live in what should be world. We live in what we do now. Burn the freaks. That's the only way they go away. It's the only way they stop hurting people.
This call occurred before the second victim approached me with their story. Even then, all I wanted was Avi to confess and own up to what he did. Not only that, but since this traumatic incident involved a very personal and private thing about me that I have since been, quite frankly, embarrassed about, as again, this fetish I had was never a fetish to begin with, I was simply misguided, it was one of the major reasons I was concerned of bringing this information to the public. It is why we are not showing the conversations. However, we don't need to, as Michael confronted Avi. Avi understood what he did was wrong, and acknowledged it. He essentially confessed to what he had done, which...
That's not confessing to sexual harassment, you dishonest...
From the beginning, was all I wanted. B and C, however, proceeded to belittle me and put me down for not wanting to, quote, go forward with this. Not only did they shame me for making this decision, but they also shamed me for not telling them what my fetish was. In my retelling of the event, I had redacted what the photos were and what my fetish was, as I was still heavily ashamed of it. And because of that, B and C made offhand comments essentially saying that maybe we shouldn't believe you, simply because I wouldn't tell them this, quite frankly, personal and intimate detail of myself. I think I've said it enough times why I felt the way I did, but regardless, I knew that there were people who could back me up in regards to the incident. I had only ever entrusted 2 individuals, that being the second victim and Michael, with the actual messages and photos from Avi. I shared these to them through screen sharing in a Discord call, so again, I had people who could back me up on my claims. Unfortunately, one of the people I entrusted switched sides and actually did everything to go against me. I think you can tell who it was. I want to reiterate again that I was never trying to cancel Avi. I was simply trying to share my story to individuals I associated with so they could understand why I am severely uncomfortable with people I associate with hanging around Avi. At the time, I didn't think he was a full-on predator who needed to be warned about, but that he was simply someone who traumatized me. Even when the truth came out in 2025 about Avi being a sexual predator and even a groomer, I still didn't want to publicly come forward. The only reason I am now is because you need the context. You need to understand what I went through. If it was me, I'd keep this to myself and take it to the grave. I do not think it is irrational or absurd for someone who experienced a traumatic event such as sexual harassment to ask their social circle, their pals, people they interact with daily, to not speak to said individual who caused that pain. But no, that is in fact the whole reason that for the next several years, up until 2023, Michael and I endured some of the most vile, sickening, and downright libel accusations made against us. All of this over a sick pervert with a creepy obsession with women's noses. I hope these people are fucking proud of themselves. There's more to the Avi incident that I will go into later on.
You know, I'm just gonna say this as well. When you do crap like this, when you paint something as something it is not, and you spin this narrative, because this isn't truth, this is narrative, you undermine people who have gone through actual experiences like this, and it makes the general public less likely to believe actual accounts of things like sexual harassment because of crap like this.
From a confrontation call to sickening things that were said about me, to even Avi doubling down on what he had done to me. All that you need to know for now is how it all ended. In late March of 2021, I attempted to message someone who will remain anonymous. When I attempted to simply reach out casually, I found out I was blocked by them. I was confused, but also very distraught. I had already blocked people that had hurt me during the Avi ordeal. Many friendships were tarnished, so seeing this, I thought maybe it had something to do with that. A lot of theories were running through my mind, but overall, I just wanted to know why this person had blocked me out of the blue, as there were no signs of them being upset with me from previous conversations. So clearly being concerned over this, I decided to tell Michael about it, and I requested him to reach out to them to find out exactly why they had done so. I just wanted some answers, and possibly just some closure. The next day, Michael did exactly that, and that is when I learned the dark truth and reality about not only how people were treating my trauma with Avi, but how they saw and treated me as an individual overall. I will just let the message speak for itself.
Why don't you want anything to do with Deed?
I don't want to do anything with her because I get very anxious around her. I know stuff happened in the past, and I am not comfortable confronting her cause of whom I'm friends with. It feels bad that if I'm friends with people, she'll hate me or something. Because Avi has changed since she last spoke. He's made up for things, you and I both know that. It doesn't feel right, it feels guilty for having friendships. So I blocked her out of fear of her hurting me or others just because I'm friends with the person. I'm sorry, Silver. I know she makes you happy, and I know you two are good together. I just am nervous and anxious, and after being in confrontations last year and getting sick over it, I'm sorry. It was never my intention to hurt you or her, honestly.
The part that I redacted, we will get back to later on, as it name drops a certain individual, but I'd like to point out the absolute fucking irony of how this person says Avi just made a little mistake, and he's changed. He's changed for the better.
Never said little mistake. You weren't sexually harassed. This is fake outrage.
Yeah, I guess grooming a minor is a little mistake too then, right? Or is it him?
Oh, kill yourself. I know who they're talking about, alright? I know the person they're referring to here. At no point did this individual ever excuse Avi grooming somebody. And you know that. You know that. You dishonest snake.
Targeting children over adults with this fetish considered changing for the better. This conversation happened in 2021.
Kill yourself.
Avi groomed a minor in 2020. Also, bullshit. It was your intention to hurt me. I'll talk about the comment where they imply I'm an abuser later, but if anyone hurt somebody, it was you. You hurt me. The fact you're apologizing to Michael and not me is the chef's kiss cherry on top, too.
Oh my god, and Michael responded with that he feels terrible. Go take it up with your husband.
You know what? Let me rephrase this message. I hate confrontation, so I refuse to speak to Dee because I should be allowed to hang around a sexual harasser and others agree with me. Sorry, not sorry.
That's also not what she said. Why are you so dishonest? Because the thing is, if this was as bad as you say it is, you would not need to lie. You would not need to project more onto this than is actually there. And the problem with this, right? And I told them this to their face yesterday. The problem with this is when you frame something like it to this degree and you are doing it maliciously and incorrectly, everything else for the rest of the 6 hours and 20 or 30 minutes of this video or whatever, it casts doubt on all of it because of this.
There, I fixed it. At least then there's honesty. To give you the timeline, between me posting my Google document and this conversation Michael had with this person, I had lost many friendships due to the Avi ordeal, and just overall people breaking my trust because people were disingenuous to me and said some very nasty things and were overall blatantly disrespectful towards me in general. When I told my story, there was silence. It was almost like there was dead air. People hardly spoke to me. I had to be the one to reach out to people, and I thought nothing of it until I got the confirmation that I needed. It wasn't just this individual and the person they name dropped in this message. It was others. It was many others who went behind my back. So even though they only confessed and threw one other individual under the bus, I spiraled. And I believe that everyone went behind my back and just unanimously agreed to support and talk to Avi and keep it a secret. The fact that they were willing to tell my partner even tells me they thought Michael would keep this a secret from me. And there's a reason for that. The reasoning is because they attempted to manipulate Michael to be on their side, which is why they thought Michael would keep their secret from me. I'll go more into detail about the manipulation tactic later, but I need you to understand that I broke down. Imagine everyone that you spent years with, people who you told some of the most sensitive details about yourself, your trauma, your life story, everything. And they all were just pretending. I don't know why these people wanted to keep me in their life so badly that they would go behind my back and keep this a secret. Regardless, my theory is that it was transactional to them. My relationship to them was transactional.
It's because the server had a no leaking rule. Deed? Sound familiar?
I was seen as a dumping ground for trauma and gossip, and maybe even money too, because I spent money on these people. I took time out of my days and nights, even when at work. I was deeply emotionally invested with these people because I fucking cared. But they clearly didn't. So I went on a blocking spree. I blocked every single person I ever knew, aside from Michael, of course. We were living together at this point.
Blocked, blocked, blocked. None of you are free from sin.
And during the aftermath, only one person reached out to Michael and asked what was going on. Only one person made an effort to reach out. Let that be known. Since I brought it up earlier, there is something that I want to state right now, is that while what Avi did to me was disgusting and traumatizing, truthfully, the aftermath of everything and how I was treated when privately speaking up about it was more traumatizing than what he initially did, I am also not Avi's biggest victim. Avi's biggest victims are the children that he groomed and desensitized to adult material. I hope with my story, people truly understand how much of a sickening, perverted man Avi is, and it helps amplify the pain he caused to so many.
What? So you don't think people would understand that Avi's a freak because they groomed a kid, but you think it'll highlight it because you had consensual sexual conversations with them? I am not letting you on this stream, Vlad. I am so not letting you on this stream, not because I don't respect you, but because I know you are going to go sicko mode, and I don't want to break community guidelines.
Avi admitted to what he did to me, and if he truly felt guilt for what he had done, he wouldn't have gone on to create more victims.
Besides, we're almost done with this section anyways.
And that is what pisses me off most about all of this. His other victims deserve the same acknowledgement as I received from him. However, I do think it is best that he stays offline and never returns, as if he hadn't been ran off the internet, I don't think I would have ever spoken publicly about what he did to me. Again, the only reason I'm speaking about it is for context about this whole ordeal, which I will now get into. Going back to the conversation between Michael and Anonymous, they say something that implies that I would harm people, that I am abusive. From 2021 all the way up to as recently as 2024, there have been false allegations being spread about me, claiming that I am abusive, not only towards others, but to my own partner. For a while now, Michael and I wanted to put these allegations to rest, so in early 2025, we started scripting a video, basically putting these rumors to rest and simply asking people to stop. The way we were going to go about this video was to keep everyone anonymous. We didn't want to start anything, we just wanted to be left alone. But the other reason was because we didn't have definitive proof.
Keeping people anonymous when you're swinging at them is pussy behavior. Name them. Hit the hose.
We didn't know where these allegations came from, and we didn't know who started it. That is, until now. There was a notorious Discord server dedicated to the slideshow commentary community known as the Cloud Palace. Within this server was a thread dedicated to me, and that is what this entire video is about. We are going to be disproving everything. We will be calling out everyone who participated in this libel thread. And when I say libel, I mean it. This thread is full of defamation. The things that were said in this thread were brought to the public. This was not a private...
In the conversation I had with Deed last night, they already proved they don't know much about law, so libel requires people to know it's not true. And to maliciously spread it, which, oddly enough, from the conversation we had yesterday, old Deed here fits a lot more.
Private ordeal. They wanted to publicly spread this, ultimately wanting to ruin Michael and I's reputation online. Unfortunately, before we can get into the thread itself, Michael and I have to talk about the SCC and how this correlates to us in the first place.
I had joined the SCC in around 2016 through making connections with people that either for the entirety or for the most of this video will stay anonymous. During my time in the SCC, I usually didn't cover any particularly serious videos, save for probably this one right here due to it dealing with transphobia. I will warn before you watch it though, I believe I accidentally used transphobic language in it myself through incorrect terminology. I do apologize for this. During my time in the SCC, I've met many different people with a variety of backgrounds, hardships, and so on. I've been a part of two commentary groups, one known as the Bunch of Pseudo-Intellectuals, or BOP, and also another one that had recently gained some infamy, the Cloud Palace. I was invited to the Cloud Palace directly by Susie Doodletones. We had already been friends for a while at this point, and I don't recall things I've said in the Cloud Palace, unfortunately. It's been many years and my memory is not kind to me. All of that being said, I do want to clarify something. While I do believe the SCC harbored the angriest, worst, and weirdly most sexual feelings out of many individuals, myself included, it would be foolish and selfish of me to act like that would excuse any poor behavior that I had exhibited during my time in the SCC. I might have been influenced, but nobody forced me to make any choices for myself at any point. I'm aware of how often I used to self-deprecate in the SCC as a means of getting attention and garnering sympathy, on top of not correctly handling many different heavy situations that had happened within the SCC. While I would like to believe that I have grown from that and changed my behavior enough to say that I don't do these things anymore, I did do those things, and I feel I haven't properly answered for them. I am deeply sorry for my poor behavior to anyone I had affected while I was a slideshow commentator, or just in general for the past 10 years. I understand that this doesn't earn me forgiveness, that's entirely within your right. I'm not going to argue with people over whether or not I deserve their permanent ire, but I hope there's at least some comfort in knowing I'm trying, that I've heard the majority of issues people have had with me, and I'm doing what I can to course correct from that. To add on to that, I'd like for the statement to reflect another thing, my disconnection and denouncement from the SCC. Initially, my only reason, and truly my only reason, was that I wasn't satisfied with doing commentaries anymore. I don't want to tell people how to make their videos. I don't want to get involved in anything serious.
Denounce the SCC. Yes, you have invaded their version of Jerusalem. You have taken it for your own group, and now everyone must convert or die.
I want to be an idiot and play idiot video games like Super Idiot Mario Brothers and Sonic the Idiot Hedgehog. And I want to clarify, I've had these feelings before I had started dating Deed. This will be relevant later. However, my additional reasoning for leaving the SCC is now this. This entire video is not just my official resignation, but my official announcement of disgust and disdain for the people who negatively affected me and my partner, regardless if you're a current member of the SCC or not. All of you make choices. And they were choices that poisoned and decayed the SCC from what I had believed it was. It is rich that you all act so proud, walking away from a fire you contributed to. I can smell the gasoline on you. I'm aware there's people that are now attempting to seek answers for those who were wronged by the SCC. I do not personally know most of these people, though I do wish them the best. Their work is certainly cut out for them, just off of the Cloud Palace alone. I can say for certain that is the epicenter, the elephant's foot of the toxic behavior emitted by those who wore the monikers slideshow commentator.
How I got myself roped up with the SCC is unique and different, as I was never a part of the SCC, and I am making that clear, as I have always made that clear years ago. The fact that people cannot accept this fact about me is bewildering, and yes, I will have to bring this up later on.
Oh my god, get over it. You were in the same spaces, you interacted with the same people, you were friends with those people. Maybe you didn't make exactly the content that SCC did, because I don't either. That don't mean you weren't there. That don't mean you weren't part of it.
When I was a teenager, I was inspiring artists that was on the site DeviantArt, and I got infatuated with the DeviantArt ranting community, or as it's now evolved into, the art commentary community. Because of that, I ended up stumbling across my recommended slideshow commentaries, and I was very fascinated by the style and form of editing, which eventually inspired me to take it up as a hobby. Keyword hobby. My second channel was once a channel known as MTC Commentates. It's my second channel for a reason. None of my commentaries were ever uploaded onto my main channel. This is why my second channel has more subscribers than my main, sadly. My first ever commentary was uploaded December 13th of 2016. I was 17 years old at the time. From 2016 to 2020, I have made a total of 9 commentaries, one of which was taken down by YouTube. I was 100% expecting it to because I used a video that I knew they didn't like because fuck censorship. But there was one commentary of mine in particular
F censorship, they say, after they censor logs.
Where I received a slew of copyright takedown threats. Basically, I was getting comments and messages from people actively telling me that they would falsely copyright strike my video, and being a 17-year-old, I panicked. So I reached out to one of the biggest slideshow commentators, Susie Doodletones, and I asked in Twitter DMs how to go about it.
Hey Doodle, I just want to say I'm a big fan of yours and I enjoy your content. I'm a small commentator myself and I stumbled into a problem with my recent commentary and I was wondering if you could help me or give me advice since this is the first time I'm dealing with the said issue. I can try, I suppose. Okay, so, sorry for saying as long as this out of nowhere... What? Okay, sorry for saying as long this out of nowhere... Words! Why sentence no worky? It's just that I don't have anyone else who does commentaries that I can talk to at all, saying this outa, or Oida technically. So some fans of the server I commented on stated they were going to copyright strike my video because I stole artwork. That was never my intention. I used Junko Inoshima from Danganronpa as my avatar. Whatever. I had to private the video and I'm currently trying to credit all the artwork, but I've seen so many commentators use characters as an avatar, no one seems to bat an eye, which I found weird. They're only mad at me for doing it.
The situation. And
I'm fine with crediting the artist, but do they have the right to strike my video? No, they don't. I've never had a copyright strike on my channel, so I don't know how to handle them. I'm fine with criticism, and I understand it wasn't my best commentary, but most of them are just harassing me and stating they're going to strike my video. But on my last 2 commentaries, they didn't seem to care I use an avatar. Only on commentary I made of the user, they are a fan, which I find weird as well. Well, I mean, that's kind of dumb to wonder about. It's obvious. Should have saw this coming, though, since I made a commentary on someone with 100,000 subscribers, or 1,000 subscribers, and I only have 500 plus. Numbers don't matter to me, but when the little guy tries to pick on the big guy, it never usually ends well. I mean, unless you're a pussy. Some fans of this user I commented on. Sounds like they're just upset you called out Senpai, insert name here. That's legit, all this sounds like to me. And to that I say, F 'em, you're in your right. Heck, all you need to do is say art credited to their original owners if they're really that upset about it. I mean, no, but okay. And if they do strike down your video,
and if people were even allowed to do this, to which Susie responded to me and even invited me to her Discord server.
Okay, so you joined the community. Congratulations.
This is the entire reasoning why I have a Discord. I wish I was joking. I was simply awestruck that someone who I watched their content daily was inviting me to essentially a group chat filled with other content creators, so I created a Discord account and I joined. This was one of Susie's earliest servers, I believe. This was the Pillow Fort, as it was known, and from then on, I befriended a lot of people. Most, if not all of them, were associated with at least one person from the SCC. However, I never considered myself part of this community. Or rather, this was merely a hobby, and I was interacting with other people who shared a hobby of mine.
So you were in a community?
I didn't interact with drama, especially outside of Discord. I didn't interact really all that often in talks of commentary shit, actually. I more so just kind of befriended people and talked to them in DMs. This is, funny enough, how Michael and I met each other and how we became really close pals and eventually started dating. The only good that ever came out of this. Throughout the entirety of me making slideshow commentaries, I had a golden rule to myself, which I told many people I befriended. And that rule was that the second I stopped having fun making these videos, I'm quitting full stop. And that eventually happened in 2020. I had at least 2 videos in the works, which one in particular had caused a situation that quite honestly pissed me the fuck off.
I can't even say that, Morbid Gray. It's not like they would have known.
And don't worry, we'll get to that later on, but not only that, I had some pretty messed up experiences amongst SCC servers that I was in, and piled that all up with other things that I was going through. On July 7th of 2021, I uploaded an update video to the channel. This update video is important because, holy shit, apparently behind the scenes, many people didn't like it. And you'll see why, because their hatred was, as always, unwarranted. That is pretty much my entire correlation to the SCC. I dealt with puddles of my own drama, but they were very small and minuscule. Honestly, I'm past all that. However, there was an incident where Susie dragged my name into drama on Twitter that I wasn't even involved in because she name-dropped my...
It's probably best I'm not, but TLDR, my name was brought up for no reason regarding certain drama that I didn't even have any part in. I honestly gotta think it's just because I'm dating Silver, and it put me in a downward spiral of panic? Oh my god. Silver helped calm me down and told me to take a break from social media, mostly Twitter, so I'm gonna do that for today. Alright, so I'm gonna be that guy again. I'm sorry, I guess it's just my... destiny for all this, because I wanted to come into this video, like, being as charitable as I can. I still think to a point I am. If you are so soft that your name being mentioned in a drama makes you spiral, get out of drama communities. My God, get out of drama communities. Yeah, the SCC has actually become a trigger for me, so please refrain from talking about that. Thank you. I was never a part of it. Yes, you were. Deed Madison the Cat was part of the SCC. They were a member of the community, they were in the servers, and they made similar content. There's no avoiding that. Stop saying you weren't part of it. You were.
Michael, and simply due to me dating Michael, she name-dropped me. That was fucked up of her. She did apologize, at least. I was never involved in many chains, and very few people even commentated on my work. I was fairly small and minuscule compared to Michael and others who were within the community, which is why I find it so baffling people dig their heels into the ground and throw a Karen-esque hissy fit on how I quote-unquote contributed to the community when I really didn't.
Pot kettle.
You will learn later on why they are adamant on this fairly obvious exaggeration and why. Truthfully, I never wanted to bring this up ever again. I even state that in my update video. However, I am forced to bring this up because of things people said in that Clubhouse thread on me. So, let this be known. I was never a part of the SCC. I do not stand by any of my past videos, and I'm leaving it in the past. Do not bring it up, because I'm never bringing this up ever again after this video.
Except for the fact that there was a second video and a set of calls and behind-the-scenes drama, but okay.
I heard you laughed as I was breaking. Said you love me, you were faking. One look into your eyes, I saw the secrets
I know we've been massively teasing this thread, but we had to give context to everything up until the thread was made. That
We
being said,
did.
it should be noted that I stated I was in the Cloud Palace for a short while, and this includes the Discord server to which I eventually left. Shortly after I did this, a thread was made on my partner. Me leaving the server at my own accord caused this thread to be created. This thread lasted for a little over a year, and so there's much to discuss, but rest assured we will be covering everything. Now granted, we won't be covering this in chronological order, rather in a way that makes the video flow, as some folks said enough bullshit we're dedicating segments just for them. But regardless, most if not everything will be discussed. With that being said, you will find the entire thread in the description below if you wish to see it in order, with sensitive information redacted or removed of course, but I'll warn you now, get a bucket for popcorn and a bucket for vomit, because it's quite the file show. However, before we get into the thread itself, we have to clarify a few things, so we'll just get those out of the way now. We received screenshots of the thread itself. While there are tools where you can export Discord servers and private DMs, for whatever reason, this thread could not be exported, so we may not have received every single message that was posted within the thread, but we pretty much got everything that we needed in order to make this response. The second thing is the dates. We mentioned how this has been going on since 2021, but the thread wasn't created until 2022. How can this be? Well, this is due to an ex of mine who also went around implying Deed is controlling and abusive, and this happened as early as 2021. Although this individual was not part of the libel thread, they partook in creating false allegations against Deed. Them not participating in the thread is the only reason as to why we are keeping them anonymous. But the harm of their malicious actions have been felt by the both of us.
The third thing is the defamation claim. To clarify, we are aware that defamation is extremely hard to prove and overall an impossible case to win within a court of law. But we have enough evidence and reason to believe this was malicious, has caused damage/harm to us,
I didn't know Oscar was a fan of Hollywood Undead. We should talk sometime.
and was done fully aware that what was said were lies. Filing court cases is also extremely expensive and a bitch to go through, so we have no interest to take this to court. We are merely just stating what it is. It is libel. It is defamation. And something to take note of after we did our own research on the matter, even if these people...
Also, for the record, if somebody is libelous towards you, in order to take them to court, you have to prove not only that they were malicious in it, but also that it cost you monetarily or socially. But if you weren't part of the community, why would you care about the social standing? Question.
genuinely believe the claims that were being made, they are still complicit. There are some, mainly one individual, who can still be sued for libel regardless if they believe it or not because there was clear malicious intent. In fact, this particular individual cared more about causing harm and damage rather than to spread any form of awareness and getting the truth out there. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about the Cloud Palace thread, Silver's significant other. Which, alright.
I just said we should talk sometime, Vlad.
Ready, off to a great start.
Just to get this out of the way, it was very common for people to dehumanize my partner by referring to them as Silver's girl, or Silver's partner, basically implying that my partner cannot exist without me, or just to merely objectify them by treating them like they are my property. The thread's title very much gives an example of that. My partner has a fucking name. Her name is Deed. Refer to her as such.
So.
Or else what, you gonna do another 9-hour video crying about it?
Who was all involved in this thread? In alphabetical order, the following are people who either engaged or were involved in spreading false accusations about me. Artemy Musha, Alvi Haltman, as Elf 101, Blaze the Weirdo, Blazing Hope, also known as Tippy, Sarah Dust, Donnie, Ellie Momelli, or Ellie for short, Goopa, also known as Bennett, Horace Tome, also known as George Raccoon, Jace, Yoon, or Yoon with a Y.
Okay, since Jace is mentioned, there's something I gotta do. I gotta do it for the people! For the people! One moment. I gotta do it. I gotta do it! Where is my office? I gotta do it. I gotta do it for you guys.
You shut your whore mouth!
And for those of you who may not heard it, again.
You shut your whore mouth!
Yeah. That's Jace. That was Jace in a call, and that was directed at me. And yes, I did. I already did, Julie.
Keyblade Master, Livy, Raven Blake Pines, Scarlet Otaku, Slayer, Stagmaster 15 or Staggy for short, and Susie Doodletones.
That is a nightmare blunt rotation if I've ever heard one.
19. 19 people total. Out of the 19, I was once close to 6 of them, and only barely know 8 of these people, primarily just by name alone. The rest are absolute strangers to me. So, what was I being accused of? Well, in no particular order, here are the following accusations made against me. I'm xenophobic, i.e. racist amongst Asians specifically. Okay. I overstepped boundaries and triggers numerous times. I am insensitive and disregarded people's trauma. I am abusive verbally and physically towards my partner. I am controlling of my partner through means of isolation and manipulation. I get unneedlessly aggressive towards people for no reason. I'm a judgmental bitch and abusive overall towards everyone. I wrongfully cut people out of my life with little to no reason. I leaked people's events and painted them as crazy. I am ableist. I am a fascist. And many, many, many more.
You know what I'm not seeing in this list? That they're not into clowns.
This is not an exaggeration, rather this is a simplified version of what these allegations are, and we are going to be disproving all of it. We are going to be showing the context through the means of screenshots with voiceover included, and then we are going to provide context, our side of the story, and evidence through screenshots ourselves with, again, provided voiceover.
Regarding the screenshots, there is something that I want to state. Many of these screenshots are of private DMs. I hate people who expose private, confidential messages. However, I am forced to do so as a means of disproving that I am these heinous things that people have labeled me as.
Expect, at all times, at any time, any message, any conversation you have with anybody could go public. And act accordingly. It's that simple.
I didn't want to have to do this, but I have to. These people left me no choice. However, it should be noted that if there is anything censored, it is because I censored personal or private information regarding my own or other people's trauma within the screenshots I provided. So, if anyone thinks that they can expose private and personal information that I have said through DMs, no. You're a piece of shit if you do that.
Yeah, they still could, though. They still could, though.
The other thing regarding screenshots is that I have to give context on 2 particular Discord accounts that will be shown. In regards to the thread, you will be seeing this deleted user. This deleted user is Yoon, who promptly deleted their Discord account after they have been called out for other events that occurred whilst they were in the SCC. The other deleted
You're welcome.
account is the one that I will be showing DMs with. This deleted account is Donnie. I was speaking to Donnie on a different Discord account before he deleted it and made a new one. Here is proof that this is Donnie. I have only ever known one Donnie, so this is that exact Donnie.
Alright, got all that? Good. I'd hate for us to repeat ourselves, unless you scrolled the timeline back and had to start over again. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary alike, welcome to the hellfire that's been our lives. This will be a bumpy and detrimental ride. Emphasis on the mental.
We are going to start with the mundane before we bump it up to the more extreme stuff and accusations that have been said. However, we didn't call this a ride for nothing. Like a roller coaster, there will be some highs and lows, there might even be loopy-loops, so don't get too comfortable. And before you even ask, we're not going to hide anything for a big reveal to be all dramatic. It is going to be rather obvious who the mastermind is behind all of this, and the individual who brought things to the public will be
There are masterminds in this community? Since when?
revealed pretty early on. But you'll just have to keep watching to see how bad it truly gets. Because if you thought it was bad now, just wait. Got it? Okay. Take it away, Donnie.
She kept trying to want me to get more into horror, despite a trigger of mine. Oh yeah, did I ever tell you about her trying to pressure me to get more into horror media?
You did not.
She kept telling me I should get more into horror media, despite being fully aware of a trigger of mine. Literally 99% of horror media has this thing. She also pressured
Decapitation, by the way. Neck breaking. Donnie, break your neck. Do it multiple times.
me into joining her horror media server. Horror is a genre that's difficult to discuss with me because of my trigger.
I can't believe I can't believe you would want to get me into horror knowing I have a trigger. Oh my god, grow up. Oh my god, I hate these people.
And also my sensitivity to death since, I was nearly murdered.
I'm not the biggest fan of horror
They should have succeeded.
either.
Shut up, Raven. No one cares. And this claim is just an outright lie. See, I was completely aware of Donnie's trauma, and that was why, when Donnie showed an interest in horror, I offered to watch horror movies for him to ensure that he wouldn't stumble across a movie that had a scene that would trigger his PTSD. I have proof of this. Hey, Donnie, if you ever wanted to watch a horror movie with a homie, you're free to watch one with me. I can check to see if there's any triggering scenes so you don't get exposed to them.
Thanks.
Of course. From one horror lover to another, I want to help you out so you can avoid triggering scenes. I want you to still be able to watch horror movies.
I appreciate that very much. I've been fascinated by them for a while, but I have to check the ones that interest me to see if I can watch them.
The movies I recommend are the Saw franchise and The Thing. It's gonna take me time to look over all the Saw movies since there is 8 total, minus the Jigsaw 2017, but I'll get back to you on those. I did my best not to go into discreet detail. I don't want to trigger you by accident. I heavily apologize if I did, though.
You didn't. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. As for the pressuring him to a horror server, which was short-lived because despite these people acting like they care about me, nobody was interested in my hobbies, here's how that conversation actually went. I made a horror server. Were you interested?
It depends. Like, I have an interest in horror, but there are a lot of triggering movies.
Don't worry, we took care of all that. I made sure any serious and triggering topics are hidden behind a spoiler tag and are given a content warning, and gore is in its own separate category.
I see. Sure, I'll join then.
Okay, cool. Not only did I not pressure nor force Donnie, but the fact that I am openly aware of his triggers really just shows to me how badly Donnie wants to paint himself as the victim and me as a villain. I care.
You two have something in common then, huh?
I care deeply about your trauma and triggers, Donnie, because you want to know why? For years, people mocked, joked about, and sometimes even purposefully triggered me, and when I would tell them to stop, they'd tell me to get over myself, or that what they're simply doing is giving me free exposure therapy. I care, Donnie, because I know what it's like to have people disrespect you. The last thing I'd ever want to do was disrespect you. But I know that
I, on the other hand, want to disrespect Donnie. Consistently.
feeling isn't mutual, given what I found out throughout all this.
She got mad for the pettiest of reasons, too. Like, she once snapped at me when I said that Hollywood Undead is emo. When it is? I wasn't allowed to have songs from Hollywood Undead I don't like. I wasn't allowed to describe Hollywood Undead as emo. It's not even an insult, and they fucking are.
Okay, so this is another exaggeration sprinkled in with lies. First of all, I don't know what Donnie means when he says he wasn't allowed to have songs from Hollywood Undead he doesn't like. As someone who has listened to Hollywood Undead's entire discography, there is one song I know of that would trigger Donnie because a line in the song would trigger his
Oh my god, who cares?
PTSD. I never said he wasn't allowed to hate that song. I genuinely do not know what he's talking about here. It doesn't help that this message comes off as him spiraling, so he probably was just saying nonsense at this point. So I'm just going to ignore that and focus on the actual claim.
That's like if I don't know, let's say Vlad. Let's say Vlad and I have some massive super gay falling out, and I claim that Vlad's done like horrific things to me. More than he already has. And like the thing I want to highlight first is he categorized He-Man wrong. Ah!
The claim is that I got mad at him for one of the pettiest reasons, and that is I snapped at him because he said that Hollywood Undead is emo, and I told him that is an insult. Which it is. But I didn't snap at Donnie. Here's something about me for context. I grew up in a very dysfunctional home, and it was chaotic to the point where people have told me that my voice almost sounds like I'm yelling, even though I am talking in my regular tone. Like, I'm not going out of my way to yell, that is just how my voice sounds due to the environment that I grew up in. See, I remember this Discord call, and what happened is, Donnie called Hollywood Undead's music emo, and I responded in a joking manner, Hollywood Undead isn't emo, don't you dare fucking call it that. But I said it in a sarcastic and I'm pulling your leg here type manner. Here's the thing though. I am aware that Donnie is autistic, and one of the common traits with autistic people is that they have a hard time interpreting tones correctly. So maybe, even though I was coming off in a sarcastic, joking manner, maybe Donnie did think I was being genuine, therefore I was snapping at him. But I wasn't. And for years, Donnie never approached me about this. All he had to fucking do was tell me, hey, I feel like you came off as aggressive when I called Hollywood Undead emo, and I would have clarified that I was merely joking. That's it. But no, this claim is being used to amplify the allegation that I am abusive and aggressive towards people.
Hi, I'm stepping in now because here's the issue. Donnie goes on and on about this within the thread for like a while. For whatever reason, Donnie is very offended that Deed told him Hollywood Undead isn't emo. For someone who said that Deed snapped for petty reasons, what the hell is this?
Donnie is offended. New news, sun will rise tomorrow. She got mad for the pettiest of reasons, too. Like, one snapped at me because I said Hollywood Undead is emo. When it is, have you heard Hear Me Now, Pour Me Out, The Diary, Pain? Who cares?
This, Donnie, it looks like you're the one who snapped for the pettiest of reasons. Mind you, this and another mundane claim is the most emotional Donnie gets. Not at the abuse claims or the ableism claims, no. He gets upset because he got corrected for mislabeling a band as emo. Which, for the record here, Donnie is in the wrong. If you literally Google search the question...
I don't care. Why would anybody care? Donnie's actually wrong about the label of the band. I don't care. I think all of you should be shoved in lockers and bullied.
Is Hollywood Undead emo? It will tell you no. No, it is not. But Donnie's explanation of what counts as emo music is really weird in itself, so let's go over it.
Have you heard Hear Me Now, Pour Me, The Diary, Pain, Circle, Nightmare, Save Me, Young, Second Chances, Upside Down, Outside, I Don't Wanna Die, fucking Bullet? Bullet is also popular because of its contrast between stock-sounding background music with lyrics taking very explicitly about suicide and self-harm. She literally once sang Pour Me with me when it's a song about alcoholism and hating yourself for it. The members of Hollywood Undead have gone through hell, so they express their dark thoughts through their music.
Wait, hold on. A lot of country music talks about alcoholism. Is country music emo now? I'm not a music person. Vlad, you tell me.
Oh, golly gee willikers, stereotyping. Well, I guess the blues, opera, rap, and even motherfucking country music is emo now. Sorry to say, folks, you all never left middle school. The thrill is gone, but this habanero will make you lose yourself until the thunder rolls in this black parade. No, seriously. In Donnie's own words, any music that has lyrics are now considered emo. So unless you're into non-lyrical music, you're an emo fan for life, suffice to say.
I'll tell you what, here's what I'm going to do. Vlad, I'm going to hop in my office, and I'll give you 5 minutes to rage in whatever manner you feel you need to, so long as you obey TOS. All right? I'm going to give you and the chat that. All right? Because you're the music guy. I'm not. I await your presence. Prepare for his arrival, worms. Better than preparing for his worm's arrival.
Yeah, there's a huge delay.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I expected it. So, go ahead. Give your opinion.
On what specifically? The emo music?
Literally all of it, if you're feeling so inclined to do so.
Okay. So, all these people need to be strung up. Like bullied and viciously harassed until they cry, and they decide to commit the very things promoted in your stereotypical emo music. Which, by the way, emo music is just self-harm music. If it promotes self-harm, it's emo music. All right, and I don't mean just self-harm like physically, like emotional self-harm, like boo-hoo, I'm gonna kill myself, like that kind of stuff. That's emo music. Anything that's just sad or depressing is not necessarily in of itself emo music. Nobody would call that emo music. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but they need to live out the things promoted in such songs. They need to go out like, I don't know, Linkin Park or, Chris Cornell or Kurt Cobain.
I'm going to pretend like I understood most of those references when I only got one.
Yeah. So, I really hate emo music, by the way, just so you know.
You don't say.
I passionately loathe it. I loathe it on the same scale that I hate music that promotes violence in general. So, but no, this whole drama is really just insane. I think it's cringe. I don't understand why we need a 7-hour fucking video to explain bullshit sexual harassment, an alleged rape that happened years ago that, by the way, I no longer believe because this person can't even be fucking honest about harassment.
Baiji, the heck are you doing down there, dude?
I am setting up my tablet.
Well, we're not going to be here for much longer. But, Vlad, how would you react if I told you this is just one of the videos?
There's more than one video?
Yep, there's a second one that's 9 hours long, and then a collection of calls that's 4 hours long.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not the one who made
Are
it.
these people transracial too? They're trying to be Kuma or a Kumu? Is that what's going on here? Like...
You know it's going to spiral into a versus match between those two now, right?
Why? What is this? I'm sorry, like, I don't care what happened to you in your life. It's not worth a 7-hour video, a 9-hour video, or a Google Doc. I don't care what it is. I don't give a shit.
But Vlad, we
Like-
need validation because we're mad at people.
Dude. You know what? Actually, I have more respect for Avi than I do these people.
Wow, that's a take. Obviously not one I agree with, but
I mean, at least he succeeded at something.
he hasn't succeeded.
Hell
At
yeah.
he hasn't succeeded at killing himself yet. So I am
But he-
unimpressed.
Well, I mean, look, you know, he at least succeeded at grooming, I think. You know, that's more than succeeding at maintaining my attention for 7 hours.
I mean, I would never say that because that's still kind of weird, especially considering the person he did it with is in the chat. But yeah, obviously,
my attention span is more important than the victim status of anyone that exists.
Okay, Vlad. Okay. You feel very strongly about these videos, I see.
Yes, they are insane. I'm actually going to do a stream with Gallagher, and I'm going to call the stream, what was it? Hold on, let me find it. I wrote it down. I'm going to call it The Great Rape-a-thon. And in that, I'm going to force Gallagher to watch these videos. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. It was Bayaji. I thought it was you. I'm going to make Gallagher watch these videos and see how long it takes before him or I spurg out and turn it off. And I'm not going to tell him how long it is.
Good luck. Good luck. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, this is insane. This is fucking stupid. If she's going to lie about something as basic as sexual harassment, then I don't believe the rape story. I just don't.
Well, all right then.
So, yeah, why should I?
I did say that was part of the problem with these types of things.
Yeah, so I wish I had been in that call with Deed.
No, you don't.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I think you would have gotten tilted quicker, actually.
Yeah, you go do this is 7 hours of give Gilded Poo ammunition. That's what this is.
Well, you know what? At least you're doing a stream about it and not a video, because then it wouldn't come out until 2027.
It wouldn't come out until Donald Trump's third term.
Oh my god, don't even. Hello, Yennefer. What brings you to our neighborhood now?
I just wanted to say, this video sucks. I've seen a clip from part 2. What the fuck were you thinking? Can I spoil a part of part 2?
I suppose.
Hidden wasn't lying what they said earlier in the stream. There is genuinely a part where it cuts to Deed on the floor with what I can only pray is fake blood. And then them getting railed by their partner. I'm not joking.
What?
I am genuinely not joking.
What?
I'm sorry, my brain, like, just...
I'm not joking.
My brain has this, like, protective measure where it just shuts down whenever I hear too much dumb shit at once.
Yeah.
What were you saying? I'm sorry, my brain... I need to rehear this.
Okay. Implied, like, fake blood, self-harm, Deed on the floor, crying, or whatever the fuck.
You don't want to be in this conversation, Phineas. You don't want to be in this conversation.
Yeah, you really don't.
I've been listening to the stream.
You don't want to be in this conversation. You're 30 seconds behind. You want to skedaddle. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay, bye.
Lol. And then hard cuts to the... It's like this whole thing of, like, a victim wouldn't do this, a victim wouldn't that, a victim wouldn't... Like, something about hypersexuality. It cuts to Deed, barely clothed, with, I can only assume, Silver off screen pulling their hair. In a bed.
What?
I'm not joking. I can give you the timestamp to what you need to avoid.
So just her pulling her own hair?
No, her husband. I can send you the
Oh,
time.
so you're
Yeah.
saying wait. So you're saying that Deed finally did the deed, and we have proof of it.
Yeah, Deed did the deed, and it's in the video. Let me. What the fuck
Was it rape?
Oh my god.
And then I'll forward it to you, Elias. So I don't know if Hidden sent this to you or not already.
I think
for your
she did,
fair
but I have
warning.
not clicked on it because.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
scared.
click on it. You'll need the filter for whenever you go over this on stream.
I mean, I'll probably check
I
it out
thought
here
she
in
was
just a
joking.
moment, just to satiate my deranged curiosity. But I won't put it on
Mhm.
screen. That much I will tell you.
Yeah, good. That was what I was worried about when you eventually get.
Well, how
to it in
explicit
whatever
is
stream.
it?
Click what I sent you.
Can't be that
actually wanna
explicit.
hear-
It's on
I actu-
YouTube.
I mean, I kind of want to just see your reaction to it, or hear your reaction to it, to be honest.
All right, I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna deafen it in a moment. Wait. We move this away from the screen we're looking at. I'm gonna deafen it.
Mm-hmm.
So fake blood.
She's fat.
Okay. Implications of self-harm.
Mm-hmm. Give it a second.
Bro. Dude.
Smoking. Okay, normal.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, smoking
No,
will
that-
waste your energy.
It lasts for 5 seconds, don't you worry.
Why? Why?
I hope you ate before this stream.
No.
Dude.
This is longer than
Dude.
5 seconds. Oh my god, this is so much
Dude.
longer than 5 seconds. I had no.
Dude. She deserved it.
Oh god. Okay,
Jesus.
no, Vlad,
Christ.
no.
I don't even care. Fuck this bitch. Fuck her.
Okay, I think I'm gonna get out of the call now. Thank you for your input.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about his input.
Oh god.
Remember, chat, you asked for that. Continuing.
I would like to inform the audience that this is the same person who goes on to fucking call my partner abusive.
I wasn't even insulting Hollywood Undead. I was just making a joke about how people don't expect me to like Hollywood Undead when they commonly talk about killing. They have a song literally called Kill Everyone. Self-harm and suicide. Oh, and they have another song that's horrorcore called Does Everybody in the World Have to Die? And that's one of my favorites.
Oh, okay, Donnie. Meanwhile, you get to call my girlfriend abusive over the horror shit, despite you literally admitting to listening to music that, by your definition, would trigger your PTSD. How did nobody notice that double standard right there?
Alright, so Donnie does not know his music genres. We have established that. We have already established that he doesn't understand what emo is, but let's talk about horrorcore. Horrorcore is a subgenre of hip-hop music based on horror-themed and often darkly transgressive lyrical content and imagery. First of all, the horror theme here is really funny given what Donnie said earlier, but secondly, have you noticed that the word emo wasn't brought up once? And that is because it is not emo. It literally takes a Google search to find this.
The Wikipedia article for most of their albums has their genre set to emo. Emo isn't as negative as people think. It's really just music with lyrics that has venting.
Well, actually, Donnie, if you look up the Hollywood Undead Wikipedia article, it says nowhere that their genre of music is emo, but you know what? Let's give you a fair shot. You said it was their albums that are set to the genre of emo, so let's go over Hollywood Undead's entire album discography and find out for ourselves. American Tragedy. American Tragedy Redux. Day of the Dead. Desperate Measures. 5. Hotel California. New Empire Volume 1. New Empire Volume 2. Notes from the Underground.
That's
Swan
a Ninja
Songs.
Turtle episode.
Swan Songs B-sides. I have no words. Like, seriously, the only reason we are bringing this up is because Donnie had a literal episode over this, and he's not even valid. He's in the wrong. All it takes is a single Google search, and people would have realized Donnie is in the wrong. Even if Donnie genuinely believed I had snapped at him, I'm not wrong. He is in the wrong for calling Hollywood Undead emo. But, honest to God, who the fuck cares? I think me being called abusive is more important than me defending or correcting my favorite band from being called
Then why are you
But
doing
for
it,
whatever
stupid?
the hell reason, this claim was used to corroborate the idea that I am abusive. What the fuck? Not only that, he literally
feel
admits to
abused.
liking horror. Explain how I was forcing you again, Donnie. We haven't even gotten to the worst of it, and Donnie has already poked holes in his story and is shown to be a hypocrite. But I want to make this clear. The only reason we are talking about this is to show the confirmation bias people had with Donnie. Nobody fact-checked Donnie. They just believed what he said, despite it taking one Google search to prove that he is wrong. Alongside him poking holes in an earlier claim, showing that he is not an honest nor trustworthy source of information. Not only that, the fact that he lumps this in with some very serious accusations, like, come on, this isn't okay. It's almost as bad as lumping nothing burgers and mundane internet drama into a Google document where you're calling out an abuser and a literal groomer. But it's not like I'd have an exact example of that happening, of course.
Foreshadowing is a narrative device in which
She forced me to stop using the term kin.
Fun fact, they almost did that themselves. Oh, hold on. It muted itself.
By finding out I do it at all, and she begged me not to kin. She told me over and over how unhealthy it is for me to kin, despite it being a coping method my therapist has told me is healthy.
Look, I don't personally like to kin, but that's just me speaking. If anyone else does it, I really don't care. If it helps you out, then that's good.
My therapist told me it's a healthy coping mechanism.
If the therapist thinks it's a good coping mechanism, and it does help you, then honestly, why should Deed's word matter? She's not your therapist, and she's not the one helping you well either.
She was so forceful and shamed me at even a sign I could have been kinning, and took every opportunity to beg me to never do it. I struggle to do any coping mechanism because I feel like I'm hurting someone when I do.
Isn't kinning just a connection to a character, as in you relate to the character because you see aspects of yourself in that character? I mean, you're technically not wrong, but kinning back in the day used to be like other kinning where you believed you were that thing. Anyways.
Yeah, I used to express myself via relating to a character and using scenes with them to properly explain how I feel, but I lost that ability because of how much she forced me to stop. She used an Urban Dictionary definition to say why it's unhealthy.
Okay, this claim makes me sound like a terrible person. However, this is just an outright lie. I did not beg nor ever force Donnie over and over again to stop kinning.
I mean, I don't think it makes them sound abusive. I'd say it's based. Like, look, what they're describing are like coping mechanisms for literal children. These are adults, and I'm tired of them, like, what's the word? Infantilizing themselves, especially with Donnie. Donnie is literally the worst of all of them. Like, the worst, bar none. And I'm sick of the infantilizing. I'm sick of all that. Like, there's this one image that I identify with, right? Oddly enough, I found it on Tumblr. Before Vlad freaks out, no, it's nothing emo. It's an image of, like, the new DuckTales version of Drake Mallard from Darkwing Duck. And Goslin runs up to him and says, "Drop a kin list." And he looks at her above his paper and just says, "I'm 30. It's perfect. I feel that.
Let me show you exactly how the one conversation we had went. Donnie, if you're mentally stable, there's something I wanted to talk to you about.
What is it?
Well, I saw a tweet earlier of you saying you kin a character, and it just spiked my anxiety is all. It's perfectly fine to have a comfort character or relate to one, but please be careful when you say you kin a character. You aren't fictional, and I've seen people take it to extreme levels, and it reminds me of this traumatic event I went through. I'm not saying you're going to do that, I just worry.
Oh, that? I don't take it too seriously. It's just a way of saying I heavily relate to a character.
Okay, thank you. It's a relief to know that. I have personal reasons.
How much trauma do you idiots have? Like, seriously, somebody identify with a fictional character. That's trauma. Oh my god, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. I was told these videos were good. I was told these videos were solid. Why? I need to hang whoever told me that. I need to fight you in, like, the pouring rain with katana to the death. Oh my god, why? This is awful. I hate it. This is gay. This is dumb. This is cringe. This is what we're prioritizing. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we made a 7-hour and a 9-hour video on.
Reasons as to why I don't like kinning, and that is because it can be unhealthy. Let me explain why. If you don't know what kin or kinning means, it is an online terminology that is frequently used within fandom spaces. It derives from the Tumblr coined term otherkin. If you don't know what otherkin is, it's essentially people who genuinely believe that they are a different species. It is basically
kin getting a job,
a term that makes trans people look bad, as it's primarily used by mentally unwell people. Well, kin or kinning sort of derives from that. Basically, it is the idea or belief that you are a fictional character. You relate to a fictional character so much that you genuinely believe you are this fictional character. However, over the years, the terminology has died down. Most people who use the term kin more so just mean that they relate to a fictional character on a personal level. It is the "they are just like me for real meme personified. Despite this, however, there are people out there, to this day, who genuinely believe on an unhealthy level that they are a fictional character. The Komeda Discord call and the Final Fantasy House are examples of this. I think you can understand now why I am uncomfortable with the term kinning. If you are someone who uses the term kin and you do not believe or actively hallucinate that you are a fictional character, I don't care. You are not harming yourself or others for relating to a fictional character. But the terminology does have a dark history behind it, and that was my only concern with Donnie, was that he genuinely believed that he was a fictional character. That was my only concern, and he straight up told me that the whole kin thing, to him, isn't a big deal. He never told me it had anything to do with therapy or coping with trauma. So, explain to me how I'm the asshole in this situation. But the reality of it is, if a therapist did actually recommend Donnie to kin, they either don't know what it is and Donnie did not properly explain it, or that therapist needs to be fired. There isn't a lot of research in regards to this, but from the research that I have done online,
it's not you I'm talking about, Asuka.
No genuine mental health professional would recommend anyone to kin, because imagining or hyperfixating to the point where you genuinely believe you are a fictional character and begin to start acting out as said character is very, very unhealthy. While I have seen pro-kin people claim their therapist accepts this, I truly have to question this because the therapists seem to be more accepting that this is their spiritual belief, not that their therapist recommends them to kin to help cope with trauma, the thing Donnie was claiming their therapist told them to do. I don't know how to tell you this, Donnie, but there are coping mechanisms that people use to cope with trauma that can be very unhealthy and even bad for them. This is one of them. As for the Urban Dictionary thing, if you look at the definition for the term kin, they talk about family, as the word kin is very different from the online terminology kin. If you want the online Tumblr terminology definition, you have to go on Urban Dictionary. And even then, most of the definitions are made up by people who are pro-kinning because, oh, would you look at that? They say the same thing as Donnie.
I dealt with an otherkin once in Senate. And this is before we found out they were a kid toucher, right? They claimed. Now, I want to be clear, I tend to be, for the most part, pretty lax, pretty accepting of most beliefs, despite being a Bible thumper, all right? But this dude kept going on about how he knows he used to be a dragon in a faraway land. And I had enough. Because he would say, I remember flying through the skies, and I will return to my homeland one day. I said, all right, explain how you flew. What? Explain how you flew. So I flapped my wings. I said, no. Explain to me the aerodynamics of dragon flight. Because if you were a dragon and you remember flying, you should remember that. It's a very basic thing. Should have been natural to you. Explain it. And would you believe it, chat? He couldn't freaking explain it! Wasn't even smart enough to look up how bats or birds fly. To try and BS his way out of it. That guy did not like me.
Internally online people who very clearly need to seek professional help straight up say, oh, it's a coping mechanism for trauma. And when it's not that, it's straight up saying that this is a term for those who identify as fictional characters. This is exactly why I said it was unhealthy. I want to make this clear. I do not think relating to a character is unhealthy. However, if you start hallucinating, if you start referring to yourself as a fictional character, or you start acting out as if fiction is reality, then you need severe intervention because that is not healthy. I have already given examples as to why, but not only that, I have personally dealt with people like this in my life.
Yeah, you hear that, Finnegan the Red Panda? You stupid LARPing piece of garbage.
And it is scary, because I don't know if you know this, but the things that fictional characters can do in real life, you cannot imitate because it would harm yourself or others around you. I don't think I need...
Says you, pussy!
...to give an example, but let's just say, oh, I don't know, someone relates to a character that murders or even rapes...
If you were raised in the 90s and you watched Toonami, and you're going to tell me at no point that you didn't try to do a Kamehameha, you're a liar.
...another character. Do you see the issue now? I didn't think I'd have to bring up a severe example, but if I absolutely have to, there you go. This entire claim is dumb because, again, I had no idea Donnie allegedly uses it as a coping mechanism. Not only that, but my own, quite frankly, traumatic experience is being used against me. No one bothered to ask why.
I love the SCC and ACC are essentially the Trauma Olympics. I should compete. I will be the gold star medalist.
I had concerns, but there you go. That's why I feel discomfort over that term. It's why I was concerned for Donnie. That's it. I've dealt with my own Final Fantasy house, except I only saw these people at school rather than being roommates.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna speed it up, Cobra. You have a point. Let's see if we can do 2.5.
It's with them, thank God. If you want to give me shit for judging Donnie and how he copes with his trauma, fine. I don't care. Regardless of your opinion on this discussion, I am not in the wrong because I couldn't have known about this, given Donnie never gave me this information in the conversation we had. And truthfully, I just find it very weird that no one questioned the therapy recommendation claim. The fact that there's little to no information about this, except for either yes men people on Urban Dictionary and subreddits, or subreddit posts of people saying, hi, mental health professional here, do not fucking do this. My information here is limited, people. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so, Lio, some of us were trying to reenact Sailor Moon attacks, okay? I'm not true. Oddly enough, when I was younger, I'm like, all right, so this tuxedo mask guy, all he's got is like essentially a staff. And that's how I found out what Bartitsu was. They could have made him so much cooler.
Same questions on
Sai, one of my favorite characters is a cannibal, and I am in agreement that a lot of her thought processes, but even then I know morally I cannot munch people up. You wish you could. I know you, Sai, and this isn't Sai Scribbles, by the way. This is Sai Illustrates. I know what you do. She draws highly detailed feet.
Therapy or trauma is rude, but if Donnie is going to accuse me of shit, I have to call into question therapy recommendation, as he purposefully uses that to paint me as a villain. Oh, and also, I was not told this, but the screenshot spoke for itself. I did not do this. Donnie is exaggerating and pretty much lying.
Dude, if it was me, if Donnie was saying that, I would just own it, and I would triple down. I was like, yeah, I meant it. You're cringe. Kill yourself. I would have just ran with it.
And for the record, Donnie, no, I did not subtweet you in regards to your kidding. I have my own personal opinions and experiences on kidding. You know.
Like, if you think you're a fictional character, cool. I'll pretend to be one, and I'll do the, Hokuto Shinkin Hakuretsukin, the 1,000 Fist Punch. Stand still long enough. We'll get there. Don't worry.
I spoke to you about it. This tweet was nearly a year after I'd spoken to you about this. What, I just had this on my mind for an entire year before I decided to finally subtweet about you? Come on. Stop making everything about you guys yourselves.
Hey, speaking of control, let's talk about one of the allegations where apparently Deed is abusive towards me, and that has to do with her somehow. Maintaining control on who I can or can't befriend, i.e. my social circle.
Silver's girlfriend is controlling his friendships. I can't be friends with him because of her.
Isn't she the one who convinced him to leave? Yeah, that's what the biggest red flag there is.
I also can't be friends with him because of her. This is a fun fact. Donnie was actually still in contact with me. At any point, he could have reached out to me because he did in 2023. You'll notice Donnie said this in 2022. Also, I left the Cloud Palace on my own accord. Don't know where you got the idea Deed convinced me to leave. I'm guessing it was somewhere in the mindset of infantilizing me to the point where he couldn't believe I could make my own decisions.
Oh, but don't worry. Donnie doesn't just accuse me of controlling my partner's friendships. He also says I was controlling his friendships as well.
She told me I wasn't allowed to be friends with Kaden or Redacted or Blaze.
Oh no, I told you I wasn't comfortable with you hanging around people who literally downplayed my trauma and helped convey the idea that I was a liar about the sexual harassment allegations towards Avi.
Because you were!
Oh, so this just didn't fucking happen. No, Donnie, I never forced you, I never pressured you, I never controlled you like a goddamn puppet forcing you to not hang around these individuals. I never did that. If me, venting about the horrific shit these people put me through, and it all of a sudden makes you uncomfortable with this idea that you are hanging around people who have done horrific shit, that's on you, my guy, not me. It is not my fault you feel guilt, Donnie. But hey, I did the job for you. I stopped talking to you for a reason. I didn't force Jack in shit. I told you what these people did to me, and if you feel like shit, that says more about you, not me. I'm tired of people blaming the victim rather than taking accountability. You knew how these people...
You know what, I'm just going to say, Deed, you're very lucky I didn't listen to this or pay attention to it to the degree I am now before our call. I would have been so much meaner. I would not have come in there calm.
Treated me, Donnie, and you chose to keep talking to them. Fine. But you cannot throw a hissy fit when I stopped talking to you. But that's not even what you're saying. You're saying I forced you to stop hanging around them, when no, I didn't do that. You made a choice. I respected it. So I blocked you and moved on with my life. What did you do? Twist the narrative to paint me as an abuser. I guarantee you that if the roles were reversed, Donnie would call me abusive, claiming I'm dismissing his trauma for staying in touch with his abusers. Regardless of the scenario, Donnie is a victim.
Before we go any further debunking the accusations made, there is a username you probably recognize, and it's probably confusing, or maybe it's obvious as to why this person is here. So to get it out of the way, the message is in this thread by the name Crouching Idiot. That's Avi. And given what Avi had done to my partner, him being in the thread where my partner is being accused of egregious things, it comes off as concerning, gross, fucking disgusting, and trust me, it is vile what Crouching Idiot goes on to do. So,
I love his moxie here, because in the call we had, he didn't speak up at all when I told him flatly that his wife's claims were garbage. Interesting behavior from these adults.
Let's talk about Avi again. Just as a small refresher, Avi is a spineless, not loving, perverted creep who I regret ever befriending now and forever. We're going to go over the very first message Avi posted in the thread because it is very telling what his intentions are throughout this thread.
I'll be the first to say that Dee has every right to not want to be around me. The way I acted towards her was gross and creepy and disrespectful of boundaries, and no amount of grooming going on at the time is going to change that.
Well, would you look at that? A second confession from Avi himself, and he wasn't even confronted by anyone this time. However, I find it eerie how he brought up the grooming allegations that were going on within the SCC at the time, especially considering he had attempted to defend George by stating that if George is a pedophile, then he himself is one to the said minor he groomed. I'm not kidding. Despite this, however, this is the funniest fucking joke he's ever made in his life. So the fact you were outed as a groomer, Avi, just goes to show how much of a creep you truly are. But it's not like you're gonna somehow turn this around and paint yourself as a victim.
However, I draw the line at her using that as a reason to destroy friendships and relationships between Silver and others because they associate with me.
I'm gonna get prop for this one.
I'm sure you will, Vlad, and that's terrifying for all.
If you're in a relationship and the person you're friends with is friends with people you don't like very much, what gives you the right to forcefully break those friendships?
Don't like very much, and I don't care if he sends unsolicited photos. Get over it. Are two very different things, Avi. I don't want to associate with people who disrespected what my partner went through, because that would entail I don't respect them either.
What gives you the right to dictate significant other's entire fucking social life? 'Cause I'm not gonna lie, that sounds pretty fucking abusive to me.
I'm just gonna show you exactly how fucking brain dead this ideology is with the means of a dark comedy sketch. Enjoy!
Yeah. No, yeah, that's
Michael!
Yeah. Right.
So you have hands right close?
No, they're always like that. They're always like, it's every day.
One moment. Lair foyer, huh? Okay. Okay. To the individual throwing a fit in my server right now because I let Vlad on, claiming that it makes me less Christian to have him on, I don't think you know who Jesus hung around. Frankly. Anyways.
With them. Like every.
Also, do you want to know what Apostle Paul did? Because I think that's a little worse than Vlad saying some unhinged things that he's saying just to rile people up.
Single day.
Michael!
Hold on. What?
Who are you talking to?
Kevin.
Kevin, as in guy who lives down the street with black dogs, Kevin?
Yeah, that Kevin. What other Kevin would it be? Oh, yeah, no, Dee just came home. She just came in and bitched about something. How do you doing?
Are you fucking for real right now?
Hold on. What?
He literally sits his dogs on me. They just did. Just now.
Oh, come on, you know they're not like that. They're playful.
Playful? Does this look painful to you?
What's the big deal? You always look like that.
I mean, it would to me. That's how my cats are.
That's your whole thing. Yeah, she's talking about your dogs. She's just overreacting. Your dogs are
You can't be serious right now.
Look, I love you. But next time, just don't aggravate Kevin's dogs. You seem to be the only one who has this.
Also, there's a wild difference between somebody sticking their animals at you that can do physical harm up to and including killing you, and you not saying no to somebody sending you, like, sexual communications. One's on them, the other's on you.
Michael, literally yesterday when I was taking trash out on our property, Kevin was on the other side of the street, walking his dogs. He looked at me, smiled, and then dropped the fucking leash to let them attack me. On our property!
The leash probably just slipped. Accident happened.
This is a fucking joke. This is a joke, right?
Dude, like, no. Kevin's a chill guy, and you're overreacting. You really need to work out this whole dog hating business you've got going on, because I don't want any part of it. Yeah, everything's fine. No, she's just being how she usually is. You know that. Yeah, so anyways, I was thinking maybe we could, like, get together and play, like, I don't know, like, Call of Duty 78 or something.
Yeah. So this is bad. Avi holds his belief that people should befriend a sexual harasser and their victim at the same time. He believes he should continue to associate with me despite Dee being my partner. And you wanna know who agrees with him? Everyone in this goddamn thread. Not me though. You wanna know why? Because this is textbook victim blaming people. This is the sorry not sorry type of attitude. This is flat out, he didn't hurt me, therefore I have no reason to stop talking to him kind of mindset. If you genuinely think you can befriend a perpetrator and their victim at the same time, if you want to God believe you can stay in a committed relationship whilst harboring your partner's rapist, sexual harasser, or abuser in your social circle, you're just a shit fucking person. You are selfish, inconsiderate, and do not care for survivors of trauma. You know what else it is? Abusive. It is a lack of respect and support towards your partner to not care what they have gone through, nor respect their boundaries. Dee not wanting me to associate with Avi's defenders wasn't controlling, it was setting a boundary. But in the SCC's delusional mind, it's quite abusive apparently to have boundaries. Then again, why are we even surprised given the kind of people they harbored in
There's some irony here. Surely you'll know why.
Our community. I just didn't expect him to be so blatantly open about it by having the sex pest speak for himself. Literally admitted he did disgusting things, but then acts like he's a victim in the same fucking sentence. I want to make it clear, Dee didn't force me to do shit. She did, however, tell me if you can't understand how these people are treating me, then I don't want to continue this relationship. She gave me an ultimatum, but she had every right to. She wanted to be respected. She wanted me to stop defending people who called her delusional and a liar, and wanted a partner that would respect her, that would listen to her, not come home and yell at her and tell her to get over herself. If I couldn't provide that support, then I was undeserving of her. See, I get why Avi thinks I would be on his side because I made the huge mistake by listening to Avi and everyone else who was defending Avi. I was being selfish. I lied to Dee when I stopped talking to Avi, and I said some hurtful shit. And when I realized how dismissive I was being towards her, I made a choice, and I chose my.
I'm gonna be a little spicy. Let's try this. Prepare for madness!
Partner is quite frankly toxic and differentiated with people, especially given the shit they say about me behind my back.
Okay, that's a bit too fast. Too fast. Let's go to 3.5.
I made a choice, and I stand by that choice to this day. So, Avi, in regards to your comment of, I also can't be friends with her, you are incorrect. You can't be friends with me because of me. I made that choice. And another thing that I just noticed lately in scripting I want to add, it's so fucking rich that you say this. When you're part of a community that not only ostracize people just for their friendship with Rachel, but your assumptions that someone was friends with Rachel. You all kept various people out of your community, such as Leo, Autumn, Saf, all because they had, or you believe they had, continued their relationship with Ray. Rules maybe not for me, I guess. Your contribution to the thread shall fucking ended here. But no, you keep fucking yapping, and it pisses me the fuck off that nobody realizes the disgusting shit you were saying about my partner and I. You know, for as much as you guys treat me like a poor defenseless victim, you certainly were willing to let Avi say some vile shit about me.
So please break up the bitch. Oh my god!
Unfortunately, it's not our call, Mick. Correct. Yeah, you fuckers can get that through your fixed goal and instead spend the next year or so convincing yourselves otherwise.
Please also read out of your pod. Unfortunately, yes, stay true to the host for Rose. What the fuck? That's the first time I read that. Jesus, dude.
Okay, sexist comment aside, you sexually harass my wife. We aren't bros. Wait, no. Actually, making a sexist comment literally shows how much you objectify women, including my own partner. Fuck off, Avi. And again, you did exactly that in your previous.
There's so much of this video that's about Avi that I kind of raffle stomped them for yesterday. I wonder if this video is going to stay up. Curious.
Hater was called out. You couldn't handle the heat and just fuck off. That certainly is the action of a remorseful man now, ain't it? Stay the fuck going, son of a fucker.
Fucking true. Why have a life relationship been treating hammers around so fucking badly?
That is real rich. Coming from a man who dated on minor ones. And hey, maybe don't talk about my relationships when I know behind the scenes you helped in ending one of them. Honestly though, in a way, I should be thanking you because it showed how empty that relationship was to begin with. I'm not going to, because that should have been my decision to make. But I'm never afraid from giving you kudos, seeing as you can't do the bare fucking minimum of taking accountability for any of your actions, Mr. Vacant for good. Thank goddamn God.
Listen, I want to say I did specific situation, but when I'm contemplating setting up for the Rose, the flesh of the document something really fun.
Thanks, Ollie. This is clearly a sign of someone who cares about his friend. I just find it funny that you previously stated I should be allowed to talk to you in one breath, and then call me blood ugly the next. At least the people who were signing Rachel when she was accusing me of abuse, insulted me, believing they wanted nothing to do with me.
Also, can you just appreciate this, Mr. Silver? Like, that just me looks like IRL. I assume you gotcha.
Oh, so we're insulting Yuki Guma's art now. Gotcha. Actually, we're also insulting Benedict character design, given that my time design was heavily borrowed from the Mystery School MVs. So, you know, smooth. As a fun fact for everyone, my favorite song of Mystery School is actually Still Goes. I love that song.
Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares if he insulted your stills?
To pieces. I will never let go. It's genuinely one of the hardest songs I've ever listened to.
I consider this borderline sexual harassment, getting obvious focusing on Avi's body and appearance. Unfortunately, since it's tweeting lots of time, can't say for certain Avi's post was. But nonetheless, it's a mockery of someone's image and infringing my nothing more than a simp. Something Avi would do quite frequently, actually. The point is used by others on the SCC. However, it doesn't stop there, and Avi interjecting himself, thinking he knows the ins and outs of my relationship.
At this point, it's what he wants. We can't deny his black girl pussy as it's more important than a healthy relationship.
Did you know that alternative women are 90% more likely to be sexually harassed than any other assigned female person? Avi here is what I like to call douchebags when we see people for their genitals and nothing more due to how porn erotic reruns. And for the record,
I actually don't know if that's true. I would imagine like minorities are probably more likely to be sexually harassed than alt girls.
Avi, no, you don't know what genitals I was born with, and you never will. But one thing's for certain, I have bigger energy than whatever's left if it's not invested in playing. Seek therapy, but closest fire within reach. Preferably the latter.
I genuinely.
So that's not sexual harassment?
So see what kind of person she is, seriously her. But see how the vision, like I don't see that happening. Like, how do you see how she acts only seeing green flags?
You know, I wanted to be clear. This is what Avi thinks of relationships, just in general, and of me, and of Deed. But most importantly, relationships. I'd like to remind the jury, yes, you are the jury, the former relationship Avi held, he felt completely maintained through the promise of mutually assured suicide, and boy, Howie, I'd love to see what part of the wall Moose could compare that mess to. I have to wonder, Avi, what exactly were your feelings with Nessie when you were dating her? Was she just mouse pussy to you? Gross. You're really just on dating Deed for just sex, which, I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot for just sex. Like, having her move in with me, working with her on videos, being the only fucking person on her side when it came to you fucks who somehow managed to come off as celibate, despite you knowing some of you have had sex, including you, Avi. Doesn't this just feel like a lot for sex? Maybe I'm just in love with her, Avi. Foreign concept to you. I know. You can't maintain a relationship without fear of death lingering on you for some reason. But boy, God, Howie, I sure can. I don't know. That sounds healthy to me.
Even if you're skeptical of my story regarding Avi, this right here is definitive proof that you objectified me and made derogatory sexual comments about me. This cannot be denied as sexual harassment. Avi sexually harassed me. I wish we could say what we don't talking about Avi, but unfortunately we weren't. He's going to pop up here and there as we go further into this thread. And not only that, there are individuals.
So again, sexual harassment has to be directed to you. You weren't in this thread. You had no idea about it until this past year. This is not sexual harassment. Oh my God, learn what words mean. I just got actually by Fish.
Who engaged in this thread who affected me during the Avi ordeal. Some even decided to involve themselves in it to become Avi's defender for some reason. As if he already didn't have one of those. But in regards to Avi, I hate you. You caused intense PTSD flashbacks for me. You said shit that felt like it was taken from my weakness for yourself. Despite never violating me physically, I felt violated regardless, especially with the shit you said in this thread. What you did to me, which is another brick on my shoulders, will make us struggling to experience a healthy relationship with sex. You were nothing more than this sex test amongst a community of perverts. You disgust me. I wish I never spoken to you. I wish I blocked your ass sooner. And I am so glad people know how much of a disgusting pervert you truly are. And everyone who ever defended your ass should be ashamed of themselves and should be shunned for it. Because they outright allowed you to get away with this creepy ass behavior. The fact you're now around spreading these false abuse allegations on me just shows your true intention. To paint me on negative light so nobody will listen to me. I overshared what you've done to me. Drop dead, Avi.
You know, Avi, the thing that hurts most about this is that out of everyone involved in the shit show thread, you're probably the one I was closest to. You're the one who helped me in and out of a nasty relationship with one who cheated on me. You're the one who helped me deal with a dear friend whom I had severely hurt before their passing. You're the one that I would visit in the exact same town as my ex because I genuinely thought you were a friend who was worth it. Even after you fucked up a relationship I could have had with someone, because my feelings never fucking mattered to you once, I still chose to talk to you afterwards because you were like a brother to me. So I find it extremely fucking frustrating to put it lightly that you were not only just unwilling to not sexually harass Deed, but also not unwilling to stop sexually harassing others after the fact. The behavior you did both behind the scenes and publicly is so disgusting, so toxic, so unbelievably incel-pilled, which fucking astounds me when I know you had sex before, and I'm personally disgusted that I know you and befriended you at all. I believe the SCC brought up worse than people, for certain. It did to me, and I'm not going to use it as an excuse for the decisions I made. I genuinely believe that the SCC was an environment that really bred this overtly sexual toxic behavior that encouraged until the day it died. The corpse riding that behavior for the rest of its legacy. I say all this because I only very partially believe this to be true for Avi. You were always like this, since the moment I knew you, and I really wish I clocked that this behavior was unacceptable sooner. I wish I clocked you were being gross, and I really fucking wish I knew you were sexualizing minors sooner. That way I could keep you to the curb sooner. The Dragon Balls can't fix your behavior. Nothing could. Stay gone. Stay away from the people you hurt. Stay away from any online communities. Stay away.
He wishes that Avi's predation was brought out sooner so he could drop the hammer on him sooner. Not because Avi predating on children is wrong and you should keep the kids safe, but so you could make accusations of him that aren't accurate to reality. You know, Julie, it's starting to make sense why they said certain things in the calls they did last night, isn't it?
away from the people I care about, stay away from my friends, and especially stay as far fucking away as possible from my wife. The fact that you've done nothing but exasperate her trauma and made it linger far longer because vagina is the only thing that lives in your head. The shit you said about me is projecting so hard. I'd say you belong in a classroom if you were allowed 200 feet in your goddamn school. She didn't deserve any of what you had done. She didn't deserve what you had said, and she certainly didn't deserve any of the shit you were saying about her behind her back. You know what she deserved? An apology. And a statement that you were going to stay away from her circles as long as she fucking lived. But shit, I guess 1 out of 2 isn't bad. You guys hope I'm not in your area ever fucking again. I might not remember your address, but I'm certain the stench will lead me right to you. Well, right now would be a perfect time to decompress, but we still have much to go through. But hey, I held up. Okay, we're good. Can't wait for process on this, but be sure to eat something. Me? Oh, don't worry. I just got down a tungsten ton of Diet Dr. Pepper, so watch me sorrows. Anywho, take it away now, Donnie.
She also makes for talking about things I like too much, saying I need to go outside because I'm talking about my interests. I'm really autistic and hyperfixate. That's hard for me to help. I've always been.
Yes, you should go outside, Donnie, and find a noose and hang yourself with it. Up, hold on. Wait, that's the...
Open to her and literally everyone I have autism. Sorry that I want to be autistic.
Okay, so this is just straight up lie. No, Donnie, I never told you that you were talking about things too much, and I never told you to go outside. I never used any of that borderline ableist wording towards you. First of all, both me and I are neurodivergent, but I'm aware of internalized ableism is a thing, so I'll be going over DMs. The only time you ever talked about autism is when I brought up the possibility that I too am autistic. I'm neurodivergent, but that is due to my PTSD. I wasn't ableist about it at all. I just noticed how I had symptoms that straight related to autism. That's all. But I want to focus on the touch grass accusation that's on me, because you want to know what happened when I searched up the term outside. The only times I ever been out is when I was thinking about the fact that I was trapped in a pregnant at her crib because I was afraid to go outside, not only due to my symptoms of PTSD, but also because I lived in an area that was dangerous due to me still living in proximity of my abusers and my rapists. That is why you see many things that are censored in screenshots. So thanks, Donnie. Thanks for making my trauma about you and had absolutely fuck all to do with you and your autism. Just so you can make me ableist.
Oh yeah, she also made racially sensitive statements about anime, saying that anime supports pedophilia.
She's at the stream call too, and yet she's still adding to her Discord server.
Okay, so Scarlet corroborates the claim, despite this not being true. Despite what I like to think, this is not a people. Let's get something out of the way real quick.
I saw, Vlad. I saw.
Scarlet, I still added you to my private Discord server because I consider you a pal. Despite your hobbies, if I really hated anime that much, why would I ever want to talk to you? It's almost like, unlike you guys, I don't make assumptions about people. And to be, I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up. But you know what? Let's play your guys' game. Let's actually leave the delusional take that I think everyone who likes anime is a pedophile. And since Tippy here is the embodiment of anime, they too
I mean, Vlad thinks everybody who likes anime is a pedophile.
are a pedophile. And they are. But not because of that. Because they can minor by desensitizing them to not safe for content and also protect people from rumors and pedophiles. Even if people's delusional take of me, I'm still right somehow. God, how do I do it? Honestly, Donnie making this claim makes him look worse compared to me. You wanna know why? Lolicon and Showtime. So does Donnie, Scarlet, and everyone else in the server support Lolicon? Because now that's the thing that I have to wonder. Because the only time I would ever say this piece of media supports pedophilia is Lolicon and Showtime. Because it is. So which is it? Are you implying that you support Lolicon and Showtime, or did you purposely exaggerate and make this claim as a means of keeping me as racially insensitive?
Finally, something she's actually right about.
I want to say this now. I do not think all anime is pedophilia, and I do not hate anime. Rather, I'm very heavily critical of anime. There's anime and manga that I've read that I do enjoy. My partner's happy to watch one, and I read it. I didn't hate it. The reason why I'm very critical of anime is due to the normalization of a lot of fucked up shit, and that includes pedophilia. There's a lot of tropes that are very harmful to anime as normalized and even romanticized or treated as a near joke, and that is why, unlike these fuckers, I don't use things like Lolicon, sexual assault, or misogyny. Very common things that are in the anime. Japan has an issue with not taking sexual assault seriously. It has an issue of misogyny being ingrained in their society and in culture. That is not me personally taking Japan in a negative light or mocking the culture. That is a fact. Japan has had an issue with this stuff for quite a while. Me stating that fact does not make me racially insensitive. And it's really fucking weird that these guys think that is on the same level of weird behavior. Basically, people glamorize and treat Japan less like a country and more so like having an excuse anything problematic as a means of that's just their culture, which is really creepy. How do I know this? Because I dealt with these type of people in my childhood who ended up doing really fucked up shit to me. That traumatic experience led me to think more critically towards anime. So no, I'm not racially insensitive due to my opinion on anime. You just want to think fucking racist, Donnie. So thanks for that. Fuck you, Scarlet, for corroborating, Donnie.
She's asking me for like an Giga Desatsu.
Who wants a short story time? One in the chat if you want a short story time. It may be fast for you, Phineas, but it's not too fast for me, and apparently not for the chat, because if it's at it is right now, it's going to take another hour and a half to get through the audio itself. Because this is a 7-hour, 20-minute video. So, 2023, Nezzy Monster got into it with Peaches on Twitter over an anime that had very heavy pedophilic undertones to it, where Peaches said that it is a problem in Japan because that culture propagates and uplifts that nonsense, and Nezzy's immediate response was to call that a racist take. And it spiraled into something really dumb. However, I wound up talking to Nezzy about it later on, where I kind of just beat the stuffing out of Nezzy about it. It's like saying this is a problem in your culture is not the same as being racist, not the same as being xenophobic. You can't sit here and tell me it's not common in your culture when there's no laws to protect against it, and that it's so common and prevalent in your animation that there's an entire subgenre for it. It is one of the few calls. Everyone in Skeleton War just shut up and just let us have it out. And it seems to me, Deed was in that same boat. So, no, Yoon, Donnie, other losers, saying Lolicon and Shotacon bad doesn't mean they think that anime is pedophilic, and it isn't racism. Unless you think being into children is inherently an aspect of the Japanese race.
What? Because it's an anime. What's wrong with the show? What? Just hate your friend. She doesn't anyone who likes supports pedophilia.
Man, she will fucking hate me on those premises alone.
I beg your pardon?
Today, I hate you for a plethora of reasons, not because you're a degenerate leech. Shut the fuck up. But did you know this Donnie changed the thing on the spot? Let me explain. The original thing was that I didn't like anime because anime itself supports pedophilia, which, in a way, it does. Not all of it, but some do. Again, well, concept exists. However, Donnie changed his phrasing here. Donnie is now claiming that I have hatred for anime because anyone who likes it, anyone who enjoys watching anime, is a pedophile. And with Donnie bringing up that he likes certain anime, and I apparently snapped at him over it, Donnie is now insinuating that I think he's a pedophile. Fucking great. And that's my whole issue here with this claim. This claim doesn't even make sense. You wanna know why? Because Michael watches anime. Well, because I'm a man, I think he's a pedophile, as if that makes fucking sense.
Yeah, to be completely honest here, I'm tired of watching people forget that I exist, which is ironic given that the thread is nearly halfway about me. I feel like Dee wouldn't be dating someone she saw as a pedophile. To clarify, again, no, Dee does not hate anime. She just knows that a disproportionate amount, especially when popular idea on the left, tends to lead to sexual harassment or pedophilia behavior either means sexualizing characters or for comedic effect. Sometimes both. But Dee has seen the decent number of anime that she's enjoyed. Both of us have watched and liked stuff such as Fullmetal Alchemist, Spy X Family, Dead Leaves, to name a few. Something I feel like literally any of you would know if anyone had come up to either her or me and just spoke to us. But no, let's ironically enough generalize and boil down my criticisms against anime to something batshit insane, but paint her in a negative light.
With that being said, let's actually talk about the funny dog show that was mentioned. Because Donnie mentioning this literally gives me the defense for his earlier claims. So Donnie had claimed earlier that I forced him to enjoy horror. That I pressured him to like horror when no, that was not the case. He likes horror on his own accord and has to live with help and recommendations. Now, like, honest to God, do not even recall Donnie talking about this anime, but what probably happened, if it even did happen, which I don't believe it did, but in this case, let's pretend it did. When me and Donnie were talking and he said he didn't like horror, I probably brought up this anime. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, what does an anime with dogs have to do with yeah, let me just call the anime where a bunch of dogs are gonna get brutally mauled to death funny. Let that be known. And this right here proves that I have every right to get upset. Again, if this conversation did occur, I didn't snap at Donnie for liking the anime, what probably happened is that I questioned Donnie because Donnie's saying he hates horror so much, why would he be willing to watch an anime where dogs and humans get mauled to death and features the shit in blood and murder? It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense, Donnie. And for the record, no, I don't care that you like this anime, Donnie. If anything, I'm only bringing this up to remember the hypocrisy, the fact that nobody did the simplest Google search of this anime, but realized how this anime has elements of horror. Or rather, it has elements of horror that Donnie claims triggers him. So why is he perfectly fine watching this anime, but when I talk about horror, I would shit. The fact even Libby seemed to have known what Donnie was talking about, why didn't she call him out? It's almost like a confirmation bias. And knowing what I've known for years, they have to baby Donnie, because Donnie would never lie. He always tells the truth. After all, he's the nicest person in the community, right?
Let's take a moment to segue into a duo sponsor from Hell. One being prominent in this thread, the other simply a lurker, yet his name is mentioned quite a lot from a certain individual. Let's have a chat about Keyblade Master and Tibby. I want to take a moment to clarify, we're not talking about Keyblade Master and Tibby at the same time because of the clothing dagger situation. In fact, neither of us were there for it, so don't expect explanation or breakdown on it. This is not the place.
It will, however, be referenced because I have my own issues with it. Now, the actual reason we're talking about these two simultaneously is because they kind of intertwine in terms of their actions within the thread itself. Let's talk about it. Let's start with Tibby, because Tibby
Also, it's on 3.5, believe it or not.
is weird. The reason I say this is because Tibby almost comes off as being our defense team. The reason I say almost is because Tibby is still going out of their way to agree with everyone I'm a terrible person and might believe in funny. However, there were quite a few times where Tibby was not my understanding where I was coming from with, granted exaggerated straight up lies what happened, and not that, there were multiple times where Tibby would go on and literally give me 3 counterpoints. I'm not kidding. It's not to say that it's bullshit, however, which we will cover. But for now, let's talk about the defenses they give. For example, Kenny claimed that Tibby goes on to say this. It's to the level for that to even be the case, it has to go further than just appreciating a character, expressing himself via relating to a character, and using scenes or moments to convey how you feel. Like, I don't get it. Then maybe you should talk about that, Let's see we're on the same page, because you're right. Relating to a character is wrong, but we can put this level for relating to one is. It's why I spoke to Donnie in the first place. But of course, that's not how Donnie created the conversation is. Not only that, Tibby is the only one to ask for actual proof of me telling Michael not to associate with you anymore. Finally, someone asking for evidence. Let's see what proof.
Fun fact, truly, even if you remove the white aspect, that is still true, because what we call the Japanese now are not the indigenous people to that island, so.
I give Tibby the bait, and everyone else immediately believes in afterwards. Wait, I have a question, but she's already telling Silver not to be friends with any of you guys.
Yes, I know this because she blocked me out of the blue, and also control my friendships.
As far as I'm concerned, Silver, by the way, doesn't seem to fully agree with her. But anyway, it is concerning.
Not like me.
I will try to do it. 3.25. We'll be here longer, but okay. Actually, I can't. It won't let me. It only gets me 3 and 3.5.
I'm just losing my fucking mind right now. It's fine. It's perfectly pitchy over here.
So beyond the fact, Tibby, that I just grew up and understood the terrible things that have done to her and the horrible things that happened to her, you guys understand that I can not agree with Dee on things, right? Like, that's not even a statement on her as a person, and it's not grounds that she's abusive or even a shitty partner. It's just a relationship. But hey, I don't know, maybe you and T are just happily mind-hyped like that.
There's also a point in time where Tibby theorizes this idea that the reason I find Hollywood being labeled emo as an insult is because emo does have a lot of negative connotations, but apparently it is possible to describe something without inherently being negative in this context. Okay, I'm just gonna stop you there. First off, I don't find it insulting because emo is a negative connotation. No, it's because Hollywood Undead isn't emo. It's like if I labeled a country band hip-hop. It doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, there have been many bands that have been wrongfully labeled as emo, such as
Okay, I'm so tired of hearing about that. Let's skip forward to Grooming Raccoon.
George! No introduction this time. Absolutely every single individual I can think of that's started this fire. We're just gonna get straight into it.
It did feel like at a certain point, Silver was interacting with me less and less, which is baffling to me since when I was hiding, Silver contacted Susie to reach out to me instead of reach out to our friendship. He himself wanted to reconnect with me. However, it feels possible that Dee blocking me could have resulted in Silver associating with me less. I only followed her back then because Silver recommended it. But like I said before, you can imagine how I felt seeing her like She Devil's Tweet from 2019, where she called me back and played a part in calling me a pedophile / creep.
George, I started talking to you less and less because I realized my initial thoughts about you not being a pedophile were wrong, which they were. I know you're not even going to have the gall to watch this video or answer for any of the shit you told people I'm extremely lucky to still call friends, but I want you to know that any support I've ever had for you as a result of Susie's comically ridiculous video on grooming is, and for a long time now, has been null and void. Stay the fuck out of my life and stay the fuck away from the people I care about.
Wait, I have a question, but she is literally telling Silver not to be friends with any of you guys.
I definitely noticed when he started interacting with less and less after I came forward with my document and came back to commentaries.
Gee, what do I do, George? Can't think of a single clue as to why I would stop interacting with you.
I'll be unable to get through to him, given how Dee hates my guts.
Well, George, you're the only correct person in this thread, and it doesn't even benefit you. Now I get to explain why George being here doesn't benefit anyone who attempted to defame me. Then again, you've probably figured it out by now, but let me give you the rundown on the George Raccoon allegations. In 2019, Leo came out publicly with a Google document detailing grooming allegations towards George, detailing how he was invited to a semi-not safe for work private Twitter account when he was underage, was pressured to send fetish content, and was sent fetish photos from George himself. Again, all whilst he was underage. Now, this fetish of George was of two things: magic tricks and the iconic Snow White dress. However, as the years have gone by, it turns out George had more victims such as Anko, Hai, and Saf. Saf is a double entendre in this case, as they actually were helping Leo, alongside Vivian, formerly known as Channel Grey, with writing his testimony to which Saf and Vivian's names were smeared, painting them as manipulators, essentially coercing Leo to call himself a victim. It doesn't help that Vivian went on to groom minors themselves with their own fetish, and Rachel Mills Kohai, being known abuser and predator, supported the allegations against George. A broken clock can be right twice a day, but this didn't matter in the eyes of many, unfortunately. Despite all this, George did confess to what he did, and he left the internet. Enter Susie Doodle Tones. When the allegations first came out, Susie, in a live stream, openly victim blamed Leo, and despite being told by people to not make a defense video towards George, she did so anyways in 2021, and that changed the narrative and public opinion on the whole case. After this video was released, most, if not everyone in the SCC believed Leo to be a liar, and large creators in the scene, such as Arnie Musha, spread around the idea that George was completely innocent, despite George making a statement on the situation through a Google Doc of his own, and whilst retracting his guilty stance, still said he wasn't completely innocent, as he did still admit it to allowing a minor in an adult space. This completely innocent stance Susie and Musha held got so bad that George was not only welcomed back into the community, a community that was well known to foster minors, mind you, but his victims were also forced to apologize to him. It's not to say everyone was happy with this conclusion, however, anyone who did attempt to debunk Susie's defense or outright support Leo was dogpiled and severely harassed. It wasn't until 2025 when George, once again, left the internet. Why? Because members from the SCC courthouse dug up the George Raccoon allegations and were gobsmacked Susie was able to not only get away with it, but this was an open secret for years. It just goes to show how small the SCC truly is, because had one person said something to outsiders, there would have been major backlash. But instead, the backlash within the community was towards those clearly saying that George was wrong and, by definition, a groomer.
Also, seeing as I was part of the SCC back in the day, do you have any idea how much of an open secret this was? George was known within the SCC to go around and ask people to draw their personas in a Snow White dress. He was literally fetishing within the community. I myself was a witness to this, but I said nothing as at the time. Nobody seemed to be bothered by this, nor was I aware of George's fetish. My lack of understanding of fetishes was also poor back then, so I just assumed it was merely an interest of his. To talk about my own involvement in the George situation, I was, before the allegations had come out, friends with George. Not particularly super close, but we had talked multiple times on both Skype and Discord. When they had come out, however, I immediately blocked NC communications with George. This was because I was also particularly close with the victim Leo, who was releasing their statements about George. However, when Duo released her video in which she silenced the victim Saf Autumn and notably Leo, and welcomed no groomer and pedophile Horace Tomei, formerly George Raccoon, back into the SCC, I very foolishly and irresponsibly believed and had taken Duo's side. At the time, I did not fully understand the meaning of the term fetish as well as I should have, believing that it could be used as a non-sexual term, and I also wasn't aware of the full scope of harm that George had done, notably Saf Autumn. This was also done partially out of spite, as Leo was manipulated by Ray to cut me off, to which he did so in a pretty nasty manner, and I also wanted to talk to a friend who I now, again, foolishly and irresponsibly believed was innocent. I have since gotten back into contact with Leo and apologize to all parties for welcoming George back into my life and participating in his return to the SCC. I do not excuse my behavior, and I have since made a point to not allow myself into spaces with minors. I'm my anyway, so I don't really need to be doing that, and I've also made it a point to keep a closer eye out for anything that may be considered predatory and to speak out against it. It's my personal opinion that these grooming allegations are not allegations. George groomed minors, plain and simple. This is a fact, as much as it is a fact that Duo allowed and harbored it, and I'm not going to let people like them playing as a fool by not dealing me the full deck. Again, the fact that people that I have cared about were harmed by someone who is at best grossly manipulative and at worst outright pedophilic makes my blood boil faster than a kettle powered by the sun, and I personally hope these individuals find peace in their lives, because if I ever find them, they're resting in pieces. Do not fuck with minors, and do not fuck with my friends. If either of these fuckers return, I promise I'm raising hell till I die or until they're gone, plain and simple.
Unlike Michael's involvement, my involvement is much more vague and almost non-existent. That is because I never interacted with George, ever. I never shared a single DM with him. Him following me on Twitter was the most interaction we ever had. Truthfully, though, I was aware of who he was because he's a prominent figure within the SCC.
Having talked to Silver, he's not raising hell about anything.
But it wasn't until 2019 when I read the allegations Leo had made against George, and I wholeheartedly believed it. Partially because it helped me, again, come to terms with what Alfie did to me, which was sexual harassment. I want to make something clear that throughout the entirety of the allegations being discussed, that being from 2019 to 2021, to even today in 2025 and so forth, my stance on the matter has never changed. My stance is with the victims. End of. I was always an outsider when it came to discussions regarding the allegations. However, I did do something behind the scenes, and that is in regards to the SCC wiki. See, on the SCC wiki, I was informed that George Raccoon's page regarding grooming allegations was completely edited and scrubbed from the wiki, and I just so happened to know someone within the SCC who was an editor for it, and I confronted them about it. And that person that I confronted was later. I basically had asked why the controversy got removed, and simply put, requested him to place it back on George's page. Truthfully, I should have done a follow-up with him, asking if he went through with my request, but I didn't. Seeing as I was a buddy of mine at the time, I thought that he would be a good Samaritan, do the right thing, and go through with it. And truthfully, I never wanted to check the SCC wiki myself, so I don't know if this request ever went through. But knowing what I know, it probably didn't and fell on complete deaf ears. The other thing I did is, again, something George was right about. I am the reason he and Michael stopped talking. See, when I found out that George was following me on Twitter, I got rightfully freaked out and I blocked the fucker. And when I was talking to it with Michael, he actually knew about the allegations and was on his side. And so I had to sit him down, explain to him why he's not in the right, aka innocent, and that's all it took was a conversation. So yes, I am the reason Michael stopped talking to you, George. I don't regret it, and I want to apologize for it. Cope and seethe. Those.
Wait. Let me get this straight. You heard. Gilly gets no flowers here. You heard that George got outed. Michael was your husband was initially on their side. You sat them down and told them why they shouldn't be, meaning you were pointing out that they were a groomer. And instead of further raising the alarm and highlighting how Susie was wrong when that video came out later, you did nothing. And the freak stayed around for 2 more years. Huh. You know, the sad thing is they thought they sounded real hard when they said that. The heck? The heck. You know, I'm going to go back just to be on the safe side to make sure I know that's what they said.
Personas in a Snow White dress. He was literally fetishing within the community. I myself was a witness to this, but I said nothing as at the time. Nobody seemed bothered by this, nor was I aware of George's fetish. My lack of understanding of fetishes was also poor back then, so I just assumed it was merely an interest of his. To talk about my own involvement in the George situation, I was, before the allegations had come out, friends with George. Not particularly super close, but we had talked multiple times on both Skype and Discord. When they had come out, however, I immediately blocked NC communications with George. This was because I was also particularly close with the victim Leo, who was releasing their statements about George. However, when Duo released her video in which she silenced the victim Saf Autumn and notably Leo, and welcomed no groomer and pedophile Horace Tomei, formerly George Raccoon, back into the SCC, I very foolishly and irresponsibly believed and had taken Duo's side. At the time, I did not fully understand the meaning of the term fetish as well as I should have, believing that it could be used as a non-sexual term, and I also wasn't aware of the full scope of harm that George had done, notably Saf Autumn. This was also done partially out of spite, as Leo was manipulated by Ray to cut me off, to which he did so in a pretty nasty manner, and I also wanted to talk to a friend who I now, again, foolishly and irresponsibly believed was innocent. I have since gotten back into contact with Leo and apologize to all parties for welcoming George back in my life and participating in his return to the SCC. I do not excuse my behavior, and I have since made a point to not allow myself into spaces with minors. I'm running anyway, so I don't really need to be doing that, and I've also made it a point to keep a closer eye out for anything that may be considered predatory and speak out against it. It's my personal opinion that these grooming allegations are not allegations. George groomed minors, plain and simple. This is a fact, as much as it is a fact that Duo allowed and harbored it, and I'm not going to let people like them playing as a fool by not dealing me the full deck. Again, the fact that people that I have cared about were harmed by someone who was at best grossly manipulative and at worst outright pedophilic makes my blood boil faster than a kettle powered by the sun, and I personally hope these individuals find peace in their lives, because if I ever find them, they're resting in pieces. Do not fuck with minors, and do not fuck with my friends. If either of these
they're resting in pieces. We got a hard guy over here.
Return, I promise I'm raising hell till I die or until they're gone, plain and simple.
Unlike Michael's involvement, my involvement is much more vague and almost non-existent. That is because I never interacted with George, ever. I never shared a single DM with him. Him following me on Twitter was the most interaction we ever had. Truthfully, though, I was aware of who he was because he's a prominent figure within the SCC. But it wasn't until 2019 when I read the allegations Leo had made against George, and I wholeheartedly believed it. Partially because it helped me, again, come to terms with what Alfie did to me, which was sexual harassment. I want to make something clear that throughout the entirety of the allegations being discussed, that being from 2019 to 2021, to even today in 2025 and so forth, my stance on the matter has never changed. My stance is with the victims. End of. I was always an outsider when it came to discussions regarding the allegations. However, I did do something behind the scenes, and that is in regards to the SCC wiki. See, on the SCC wiki, I was informed that George Raccoon's page regarding grooming allegations was completely edited and scrubbed from the wiki, and I just so happened to know someone within the SCC who was an editor for it, and I confronted them about it. And that person that I confronted was later. I basically had asked why the controversy got removed, and simply put, requested him to place it back on George's page. Truthfully, I should have done a follow-up with him, asking if he went through with my request, but I didn't. Seeing as I was a buddy of mine at the time, I thought that he would be a good Samaritan, do the right thing, and go through with it. And truthfully, I never wanted to check the SCC wiki myself, so I don't know if this request ever went through. But knowing what I know, it probably didn't and fell on complete deaf ears. The other thing I did is, again, something George was right about. I am the reason he and Michael stopped talking. See, when I found out that George was following me on Twitter, I got rightfully freaked out and I blocked the fucker. And when I was talking to it with Michael, he actually knew about the allegations and was on his side. And so I had to sit him down, explain to him why he's not in the right, aka innocent, and that's all it took was a conversation. So yes, I am the reason Michael stopped talking to you, George. I don't regret it, and I want to apologize for it.
So you did do exactly that. You did do exactly what I thought you did. But remember, guys, he'll kill you or whatever if you mess with minors. He'll raise hell. You know, unless it means speaking out. Imagine admitting to that and thinking that you're the good guy. You sat on it. And you let the little freak run rampant and you didn't tell anybody.
Cope and Steve. Those weren't the only things I did. There was one other thing I did, and it was technically public, but I did it in a way to not make it obvious on what I was talking about. Let me explain. When I was writing out my notes for my update video where I basically made my official departure from making slideshow commentaries and was moving on from that endeavor, alongside talking about my personal life and personal experiences with members of the SCC, Susie came out with a video that just straight up defended George. I only watched a quarter of it before I clicked off. I did not watch the entirety of it because Susie's rebuttals were dog shit. However, I looked through the comments and I was bewildered that so many people were on George's side and were just victim blaming Leo. It pissed me off to no end seeing how people were treating Leo, and I wanted to say something, but I knew if I did say something, I would be dogpiled. But not only that, this was when I was dealing with the aftermath of the Avi stuff and how everyone I ever thought were my pals basically defended Avi. So I had already dealt with enough harassment and dogpiling. So what I instead did was in my update video, I spent a few minutes making a statement telling the public that I am aware that the SCC has members who are defending and literally harboring people who should be in jail and that they should be ashamed of themselves. And yes, that was alluding to George Raccoon. Keyword members, not the entirety of the SCC. Here's a clip of that for context. Originally, I had no ill will towards the slideshow commentary community and the anti-slideshow commentary community. However, over the years, I have learned that current Informer members have done not only irresponsible actions, but have gone as far as to do actions that are not only morally wrong, but illegal. And the fact that many current Informer members are protecting people who have done said actions like that really fucking disgusts me. I really thought better of the community, but learning the things I have over the years, I'm absolutely disgusted. I don't expect you to believe me immediately, as I don't wish to go into details, as this is what this video is for. Not only that, but for the sake of not only myself, but also the victims. However, this is yet another reason as why I just want absolutely fuck all to do with any member of the SCC, any anti-SCC, and just the community overall. I want to say right now, although it's not my place to apologize, I still want to apologize regardless to the victims for the treatment they received for years on end by a community that should have protected you rather than a chest rumor who have unfortunately gotten away with it regardless because he has the money for the lawyers. It is beyond disgusting watching people not only treat my sexual harasser like he's a good omen, but also a literal fucking groomer. Shocking to say that applies to both George and Avi. The double standard.
How do I respond to this? Your sympathies lie with the victims, but not enough to raise Cain about it because you're scared you'd get dogpiled. So you put your own comfort over calling out something you yourself are condemning. Now, I want to be clear because the community has a problem with moral flagging. If they had just said what Vlad does, not my kid, not my problem, I didn't feel like dealing with it, I'd be a lot more lenient, as ridiculous as that may sound. But they spent all that time moral flagging about how wrong it is and about how they stood with the victims, but only so much as it doesn't cause them discomfort. You're a coward. God hates a coward. And you know what? I hate a coward too. It's one of the very few things I have an immediate anger reaction to is cowardice. And that's what this is. This was cowardice on your end. So, I don't care about all this stupid crap about Avi having a sexting conversation with you that you consented to and that people were cruel to you in the background. You were at least an adult. What is wrong with you? Actually, you know what? Chuli, you gave your word about something last night, right? You did. Do you recall me doing so? Because I don't think I did. I don't think I made that promise. But remind me, did I? Because I don't think I did. I don't think they're going to agree to it, Chuli. I don't think they're going to agree to another call, not after last night. You promised you wouldn't bring something public, right? I don't think I ever did. I don't think I ever made that promise. I'll wait for Chuli to respond. I won't walk back my word, but I want to make sure I didn't, because I didn't think I did. So, all right, screw it. Screw it. We are done with this video. We're done with it. I don't think I can show the clips because a friend of mine is involved and I think they do genuinely not want to actually be brought up in it by name. So I'm not going to do that. Not unless I got their explicit permission to do so, because they have been out of this community, the SCC, for years. They don't want to be dragged into it. So I will give you all a TLDR. Alright, because I know they're watching the stream and they can give me the yay or nay. And to be clear, you don't have to capitulate into a yay. If you don't want it, I respect that and you'll get no grief from me about it. So what happened is Deed decided of their own volition to claim that a friend of mine aided and abetted Avi's grooming of Chuli because they totes knew that Avi was a sexual harasser and defended him. Now, do you think that Deed brought this up to Chuli and asked for clarifying questions? Because if you did, you're dumb. Nope, instead she tried to hide this behind her server, talking about how she was going to do a video on this individual. Asuka called that out because Asuka asked me if I knew who this individual was, and I do. And needless to say, not only did Deed here talk out their issues with this person 5 goddamn years ago, but there was no evidence, as there isn't any, that Avi sexually harassed Deed. And there's no correlation between someone being a sexual harasser and someone being a kid toucher. So this was a false claim that Deed was going to push because they were angry at my friend for past experiences. Hold on. So what happened was, of course, Asuka blew that out of the water, leaked those chats, then Deed lost their mind, demanding to know who leaked the chats, because, well, I was just venting. You should have asked if I was serious, doing exactly the same crap that they're getting onto the Cloud Palace for in these 2 videos, right? So, a call is requested. And, bring up the briefly mentioned... Oh, we will, don't worry. And Chuli's like, you know what? No, I want a call. I want a call about this. And first, Deed tries to set the parameters of the call. Remember, Deed's the one in the wrong here. Deed's the one that screwed up. Deed's the one that wanted to mess with people about this. But they had demands for the call. That it was not to be recorded. That it was not to be turned into content. And more importantly, the greatest commandment. You can't bring Lio into the call. Now, I never talked to Deed before. Never met them, never met their husband, knew nothing about them. Well, we get the call because Chuli made it very clear, no, screw you, I do what I want. And the call opens with Deed freaking out. Freaking out because I'm in the call. Terrified of me. Because they have CPTSD, and that my yelling is a trigger, and it's a problem. Whatever. I moved past it, told them I had no intention of yelling, and they should be more worried about Chuli than me. I was right, by the way. So we get further into the conversation. You were threatened on her like an attack dog. Well, no, I wasn't. I know what clip you're talking about, but she was apparently worried about that, right? So, we get further in the conversation about my friend. And I point out that their logic is flawed, that their argumentation is dumb, and that they don't need to push this. And one of their immediate responses was, do you guys know this person works with children? And at that point, I became slightly unglued. At that point, I did. Like, they could be a threat to children. I'm like, yeah, so could everybody in this call. There's no evidence. I don't want to hear about it ever again. In private, in public, ever again, unless you have evidence. And they admitted later on that in the video they were going to do on this person, that their concerns about this person being around children was going to essentially be a footnote instead of the main point. A person they were trying to paint as an enabler of grooming that they thought was a danger around children. It was going to be a footnote in the video about them. The main focus, of course, would have been, well, this person made me mad. They hurt my feelings half a decade ago. Brother, are you kidding me? Brother! It's embarrassing. We really should have put the call off longer, Julie, and watched this crap. Because I don't think we're going to get another call with them. It'll be fun. Funny. But if we ever do release that call, we will have to remove my friend's name in every instance. That's going to be fun, to say the least. Let me see if we mention... We do. I'm not going to show the clip. I don't need to. Because I did promise them I wasn't going to make fun of them like that. So I don't need to. If we ever release the call, people can make their own determinations. But we're good on that. So I'm gonna put in a vote for the chat. All right. So I'm going to give you guys a choice. And you guys are now allowed to vote. Let me know your thoughts. All right, I'll go ahead and say go for it, Yin, and we'll throw it up on my channel when it's done. Lol. Okay. Okay. It will probably be multiple streams in because I am not doing no 6 to 12 hour stream. I have a job and a life. And a addiction to the game repo. Don't judge me. It tickles the autism. So, I will now read off the super chats before we go. Because I am tired and my brain hurts after this crap. Oh, goodness. You guys were very kind this time around. Vlad for $2. Ultimate Grape Review ACC Edition. SCC. There is a difference. I don't care if anybody says otherwise. Another $2. I am not saying that. From Vlad. Angie Angel for $2. I'm going to crash out. Say no. Press the button. True. Vlad for another $10. This is your fault, Lio. Had you not killed Harambe on Epstein Island while screaming at Rosa about how Superman did 9/11, this woman would have found the courage to say no. Man, you're right. I need a time machine. Beef and May for $2. Say hi to Gidget for me. Cornlord demands it. Yes, Cornlord. Small Child for $1. No message. Gilded Poo for $2. Grooming is an important element of equestrianism. Yes, it is. At some point, Vlad, remind me to tell you about the magical fedora the My Little Pony fans made. Just not saying that word for $5. A lot of these ACC, SCC people would never survive a late 2000s internet if they're like this. Actually, yeah, that is true. Mercer Frey for $2. Deed, in this vid, just shot herself in the foot multiple times. Vlad for $5. DSA, dear people, your sexual assault experience stories is not so important and interesting that it needs a 7-hour video. Get a job. Mercer Frey for $5. Instead of exposing Yavi, such an easy win, they exposed Deed for being an overly sensitive moron that doesn't know how to say no. Yeah. Loki Mama Bear, have 2 of them. 1 for $2, 1 for $10. Lio History of Bread Stream win. Better doc use. I don't know. I'm going to be honest, D doing all this feels like trying to hide to draw attention away from something. It feels weird in execution. Can't say I disagree. Thank me for $2. When does the hurting stop? Terrible Thunder Lizards reference. My man who messaged me. Oh, God. I know, Fish. I know. I can't time travel. Archer BT for $5. Sandwiching debates about music genres with combos about sexual assault. And DA is jarring AF. Yeah. Buddha for $2. I identify with Guts from Berserk. Cancel me. I don't think you identify with Guts. I think you're attracted to him. I know you. Phineas for $2. I want to see you rant to someone kidding Jesus. Well, technically every Christian should try to be like him. Kurt Road Trip for $5. FFS. I know the speed is higher, but can we get a TLDR version? Good luck. Sushi Soda. That sounds terrible. For $5. A TLDR. The SCC sucks. Everyone sucks. Touch the grass and get therapy. Or a beating. $2 from Vlad. Watch me speedrun this drama. It's going to be horrifying. Honey Zena for $5. I live in Japan too. It's a big issue. A lot of residents here think so too. Nezzy is a complete nut job. Well, they also don't leave their house, so that would make sense why they don't think about it. So, you know. Clear Obscura. What the heck is Clear Obscura? And yes, Repo's fun. It preys on my autism, though. Okay, so that's all we have right now. Maybe a video will come out this week or next. It'll be fun, and then back to drama again. Thank you all for joining me in this almost 3-hour stream where we only got through 3 hours of the video. I'm going to see what that means before I read it out, but thank you, Julie. One moment. I actually do a short story time here in a minute before I let you guys go because I cannot travel in time. Thank you, Julie. So let me finish reading off this other one. I'll tell you guys a story and let you go. Thank you for Infinite Curly Fries, $20. Very kind for Figure Fun. Much appreciated. So there was a call-in Senate a few years ago where the person we were speaking to was bilingual and he was a weirdo. And he was telling us about how his family hates him, right? So I asked him to put his mother on the phone to ask if any of that was true. And when I put her on, I asked her, and her immediate response was, yes. Because I asked, do you really hate your son? Do you just not like him? And her response was, yes. I didn't know she didn't speak English. So when I found out she didn't speak English, because I don't speak Spanish, I went to the English and Spanish translator, and I tried to speak Spanish. And I'll be clear, I unironically know more Japanese than I do Spanish, so I'm going to let you guys listen. Because it's a soundboard in Vlad's server, and I actually do love it. I know it's supposed to, like, make fun of me, but I actually love this. So let me pull up the sound I made, because it's amazing. He spams it a lot of times when I'm in call, because it amuses him so much. Let's see here. Where's Vlad's server on the list? Boop. Taco Layo, nice.
Trujillo dice que es padres lo odian.
It's bad. I love it. I love it. It's not my favorite one, though. My favorite one in this server is... Let's see here. Where is it? Why don't I have that put up here? I'll favorite it to make sure it's back here. Let's see here. There's I'm Begging You. There it is. Pedo War. This is my favorite one.
Coyote Lovely when he fell to Satan with me in the trenches of the Pedo War.
Yin the Yan. I'm yinning my yan. Well, that's why it's going to be your fault if anybody calls you Mama Yen. But I'm going to send you guys to commercial. Thank you all for joining me. And hopefully the next stream won't be as ridiculous. Take it easy, guys. Have a good week.
Don't miss the super androids that fly on wings of silver and fight with nerves of steel. The mighty Silverhawks.
Afternoons at 4.
Thundercats! Ho! Thunder excitement is flying at you this fall when the Thundercats tear into action.
Let's cut those mutants down to size.
Get ready to strike a blow for justice this fall with the mighty Thundercats.
Lupin! Lupin! That man is a notorious thief who works all over the world!
Let's go meet this treasure that's soon to be ours.
Don't say that I didn't warn you.
Stop that woman! You can't fool me! You're planning something again!
Jeez, Pops, can't get anything past you.
He'll steal your heart, and then he's coming for everything else. Lupin the Third, premiering next Saturday night at 2.
Take it off. That'll be my pleasure.
Only Toonami on a...
ビーストウォーズセカンド最大の敵がついに目覚めたライオンコンボイ変身新司令官の登場だガルバトロントランスフォーム破壊大帝驚異の三段変形ライオン台風史上最大の対決に君も参加せよだからトランスフォーマービーストウォーズ
If one is born a man, at least once in his life, he will dream of becoming the strongest man alive.
Are you surprised at all? This is Orochi-style karate.
That's it, baby. Come straight for me.
Your training has paid off most impressively. I'd be happy to reward you now for all the progress you've made.
It could never require
What an adorable little playground you have here.
Maki the Grappler.
You have accessed the secret files of the SWAT Cats. Name, automatic cement launcher. Function, launches pre-mixed fast-drying cement at the rate of 5,000 GPM. Glots per minute. Very effective at freezing monsters right in their tracks. Ending transmission. You have accessed the secret files of the SWAT Cats. Name, Jake Clausen. Occupation, garage mechanic. Alias, Razor. Real job, SWAT Cat. Designs gadgets to capture bad guys. Goal, protection of Mega Cat City. Favorite expression, bingo. Ending transmission.
Meet St. Canard's Most Wanted.
Eat wanted, Starkling!
There's Megavolt, criminal circuit breaker.
It's playtime!
Quacker Jack, fiendish felon. Bushroot, experiment gone haywire.
I'm really not sinister, just misunderstood.
And diabolical evildoer Mega Duck.
A rotten kind of guy!
And only one superhero can stop them.
The original, Mr. Fix-It! Get him!
Darkwing Duck.
A new Optimus Prime is here.
I'll transform Optimus! Power Master Optimus Prime, greatest leader of his time.
It's great to be back.
Now, Optimus Prime is back as a Power Master. He only transforms when his Nebulon becomes his engine.
Power Master Optimus Prime. Look, Optimus is transforming into a super robot.
Power Master Transformers. They've got the power to surprise.
The earth lies shattered and broken. A ruined wasteland that is now struggling to sustain life. Humanity is near the end after a devastating global meltdown. The oceans have been boiled away in nuclear fire. The land is charred and disfigured, saturated with deadly toxins. Life is a nightmarish struggle. The radiation levels have created hideous, mutated human savages. Mentally deranged, they roam in search of food and water. Gruesome violence brings terrible death to those who encounter these murderous mutants. It is an orgy of chaos, madness on a global scale. Savagery knows no limits. There are no nations, no laws, no order. this grim reality, the forces of good and evil are once more preparing to fight for the future of mankind. Far, far away, a star shines out from the blackness of space. A beacon for the lost, a symbol of hope, an unfailing comfort to those on a journey. Known as the North Star, it has, through the ages, meant many things to many men. Under this eternal light walks the namesake of this star, a man of power and purity. A living beacon of hope, destined to bring light into the darkness. He is a feared man, spoken of in hushed tones. A legendary fighter, able to call on secret powers. Violence is met with worse violence as Ken destroys the forces of his evil half-brother. Heads roll, bodies fall, and the earth runs red as Ken draws ever nearer to Shin's stronghold in the city of the Southern Cross. The scene is set for an epic struggle between good and evil. What Shin started cannot be stopped. Many will die trying. Many will run, but there is only one Fist of the North Star.